welcome back, everyone. Episode 45. Artie, George, how are you, gentlemen?
Welcome, guys. We missed you last week.
Yes.
Sorry about last week, but yeah, we're back.
Hey, I'm back. We're back
There you go.
fighting. It was more me than you blokes, but we made it this week.
We
That's
made
the
it.
main
We
thing.
made it.
Apologies.
So, you know what the problem was?
What
I think
was that?
Sachin, he wanted to take me around. He wanted to give you a lift somewhere. Then, can you take me to there? And you called us from Melbourne, mate. Can you send me tickets to Melbourne? Sachin took me to Melbourne.
I
mate.
told him Leichhardt, and he took me to Leichhardt, Melbourne. I fell asleep in the back of the cab. Sachin, what do you do? And he expected me to pay.
It's twice, man.
Bloody
Yeah, apologies for the week off, guys. We were a bit crook last week. There was Origin, but we're back and ready to go. Apologies in advance if I'm yawning tonight. It's not because I'm bored. It's because I'm tired. I had about 2 hours sleep, and that's while I was driving to work. So a couple of things we want to call out. First of all, for those of you who can see us, you'll see that we're wearing our beanies, our Mark Hughes Foundation beanies. It's beanie for brain cancer round this week. George, is that right?
That's right. Beanie
And
for
with every
brain
beanie
cancer.
purchased, money goes to the Mark Hughes Foundation.
That's right.
To support brain cancer, which is close to us. We personally know someone who passed away from brain cancer a couple of years ago.
Yeah,
And you can get them pretty much anywhere. Supermarkets, IGAs, local pubs. Get out there and do it because, like I said, every beanie that you buy, we buy them every year. And it's a donation to the brain cancer, to the Mark Hughes Foundation. It's a wonderful cause from a wonderful guy.
Yeah, he's a wonderful man. He's been at it, and as we know, he's got the dreaded disease. Doing well apparently, but anything, any way we can help Mark and the cause, we're there.
Definitely. Now, like we always say, this is the pod that tells it like it is. George, where's round 17?
It's in the can.
It's in the can.
It's in the can.
It's in the
mate.
can,
It's in
right?
the can.
Good.
And I suppose we'll have to jump in with Origin, obviously. Let's kick it off, George.
Oh, yeah.
Before we jump into Origin, Nicola, someone asked me last week some of the pods that I listen to, and the boys here know that I'm a pod addict and I listen to a lot. But I've stumbled onto a few pods which I think everybody should know about it. I was always looking for an NRLW pod, Nicola, and thank God I found one. It's called Kicking It with Corbin Baxter and Kiana Takarangi.
Takarangi.
Okay. They've just started. I think they've only got 4 or 5 episodes. But they've had Emma Tomagata, one of your favourites.
Yes, good on her. Yeah,
She was on and she was great. But this week they had she had started. They had I forget her first name. I think
Maddie.
Yep, sorry. They had Maddie starting on, and she opened up in terms of mental health. And you know what? Men can talk about mental health, but how a woman can describe mental health, it goes to another level. So I enjoyed it. But back to the podcast. Look, the girls are funny. They're intelligent, but most of all, they're informative and they're extremely entertaining. So get into it, kicking it. And James Graham's podcast, I wouldn't have recommended, but he had Tim Sheens on, and it was 3 hours. It was enthralling. It was enthralling. He went through all his career. He was open. He was honest, and it was one of the best interviews I've ever heard.
From what you were telling me this afternoon, I'm dying to listen to that tomorrow because a lot of our listeners who are kind of modern generation, they really don't know the history of Tim Sheens playing for Penrith, coaching, coaching that wonderful Canberra Raiders side of the late 80s, early 90s. He's just got an amazing career.
That West Tigers team.
West Tigers.
2005.
Yeah, and how he put that together.
Yeah.
And the
Cowboys.
issues he had.
Sorry.
He went to Cowboys and why and how that fell apart. And he was honest and open, and it's probably, and I listened to a lot of interviews because I listened to a lot of podcasts, but and I don't talk about it, do I? But this is one I want everybody to hear. And can I be honest? I don't really enjoy James Graham's style of interviewing, but this is a must. This is a must. And like I said, the girls are kicking it with Corbin and Kiana. Do yourselves a favour. It's a fantastic pod. If you want it, and we all should get into NRLW. But anyway, let's move on.
Yeah. Let's move on. Arthur, what did you think of Origin 2?
Wow, that was a train wreck, wasn't it? That was terrible. No. You know what? To be honest, I thought Queensland were fantastic.
Yeah.
Whoever played them that night, they would have lost. They were so switched on. I felt a bit sorry for New South Wales, but they were just so switched on. And Billy Slater is going to be a phenomenal coach.
Man.
He's built a dynasty. He's already done it in 2 years.
He's won 2 series in 5 games.
And he's going to win them all. He's going to win many more series on the way. It's going to be a tough ass to beat Queensland while he's in charge because way they play.
Did you guys find, like I was telling George earlier, I found it odd watching the game. It seemed like, especially in the first half, like physically we were dominating them.
Yeah.
In their half, we were defending really well. Great line speed, hitting. Geez, the contact was phenomenal in that game. Some of the hits, right? And we were defending really well in their half, keeping them there, and we had good field position. We couldn't score to save our lives. But then in our own half, they were slicing us apart. It seemed like every time they came down, they scored.
Exactly.
It was just really weird.
It was unbelievable. And one good example was Crichton takes an intercept, runs all the way down, and DCE catches him, and then the other places closer to DCE were 11 Maroons.
Did you see that shot?
They
Did
were
you
nowhere
see that
there.
shot?
So that just typified the way that game played in Queensland in one shot.
Did you see that, George?
Yeah, I saw
Did you see that shot? There was a shot of I mean, first of all, I can't believe DCE caught him. Right? I mean, he's 34 years old.
Yeah.
A halfback. But when you see that shot, the screen's full of maroon jumpers.
Yeah.
And no blue jumpers. It's like everyone just stood there going, yeah, go for it, make it. And
that goes back to your why.
Yeah.
There's a problem, there's issues with New South Wales Rugby League in terms the minute Billy Slater took the reins, we know this thing. We know that they're going to be mentally, physically prepared, and they'll have their why. Guess what? $30,000 isn't a why. New South Wales got problems because we have to find 17 players who want to play for New South Wales. People like Jake Trbojevic. And where do you find 17 like Jake Trbojevic? And then somehow the coaching staff have to give them the why. It's got nothing to do with X's and O's. Because guess what? Every player on that field are the elite players of the competition. And you know what? If you look at it on paper, New South Wales is a better team. On paper, New South Wales is a better team.
The thing is, I mean, no one could have predicted that Turbo would go down in the 2nd or 3rd minute.
Yes,
right?
that played a big role.
But having said that, we're all apprehensive about him being selected in the first place because he was physically and mentally fragile. But Damien Cook in the centres,
bizarre.
Cameron Murray not playing at all in the first half. Stefano played 14 minutes, I think, something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, Fiddler really got a lot wrong.
If you want to talk about Brad Fiddler and he's panicking because he knows exactly what's happening. Look what he's done. Look what he's done in 2 games. He's given about 3 elite rugby league players, because I saw them on the weekend. They got doubts in their mind. There's a few South Sydney players.
Yeah.
There's a Roosters player, and there's a few others that all of a sudden are out of form and they look shadow of themselves, because and someone from the Sharks, because I'm not going to say he's burnt them, but he's mistreated them. And I don't care what you tell me; it's solely in his watch. And you know what's the telling? The telling blow is when you put a hooker in the centres.
Did they look confused to you guys? Like when they were the plays. Did they look like they were kind of unsure of
No
themselves?
fluency at all. There was no combination. There was no fluency. They looked like a rabble. To be honest. It was terrible.
So have you ever played a game, be it soccer, be it rugby league, and you're playing against another team, and you can tell on that day they've got it over you guys in every way.
Yeah, but that's
physically,
where
mentally.
you have to turn up in effort.
Yeah, but that's it. That's where you reach into your body and find your why.
Because on those days, every touch, every pass goes wrong. Nothing works. But you turn up the energy in those games.
Can I assure you of one thing? That every game New South Wales plays against Billy Slater, okay, they're going to be better. They're going to be more prepared mentally and physically. So
They have more.
New South Wales have got to be trained, okay, in their why. What is their why? Why are they doing something? Because you know what, when Queenslanders are hurting, and Crichton takes an intercept, 9 times out of 10 scores that try. Okay, there's 5, 6 Maroon jerseys in the picture and not one New South Wales because all of them are doing it for a reason.
I'll be honest with you. I thought we were a great chance of winning 5 minutes before that game kicked off.
Me too.
And now I think we're further away than we've been in 20 years of how do you put this thing back together? Like, and don't get me wrong, Latrell is will make a big
loss.
difference.
Yeah,
Damien Cook tried his ass off. I also want to call out Robson, Reece Robson, who is it's Reece Robson,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Yeah. Who we were all of us were like, that's a bit of a strange one. I thought he tried really hard,
He
did
did.
really well, especially considering he wasn't expecting to play 80 minutes. He did really well
He did.
I'm not.
on debut.
I'm actually not looking at the players. They weren't prepared. I'm not blaming any player. They weren't prepared. It's as simple as that.
Sometimes and it's the same in soccer, when a team looks confused or they don't know where they're supposed to be or they're running the wrong lines or they're disjointed, a lot of that's in the preparation, right? I think it was evident last Wednesday night.
Yeah.
Like it just looked, and I don't want to just blame Fittler. At the end of the day, they all should have been better, but a couple of them had really good games. A couple of them were standouts. They tried hard, like Robson. Damien Cook tried his ass off, but
Everybody tried.
when you're playing out of position, it's the defending it's easy to attack or play, but it's defending in that position when you're not used to being there.
Especially on the edge.
So I felt for Damien Cook because it obviously, it wasn't his fault, but it was just really, really disappointing.
Yeah.
Really disappointing.
Again, that was a bizarre decision, and I think that sealed. And I'm shocked what you said about having a director of coaching. And
Arthur, you want to share that? Because I think that was before we went on.
Yeah, we just read something about there's a rumour going around that next year they're looking at reappointing Fittler as coach, but getting a director of football on top of him. And one of the names that was linked was Brian Smith. Now, Brian Smith, I love Smithy. He's a great coach. I'd even put him there as the standout coach. He'll add some steel to that team, to be honest.
He was a great coach.
Fantastic.
Unfortunately, he never won a grand final. He coached 4 and he lost 3 of them to Wayne Bennett.
But he had a good eye for talent. He knew the tough players.
Yeah, very good.
He always built strong teams that can defend.
I always used to say, and he coached both of our clubs, right?
Exactly.
Amongst others. But what I always thought about Brian Smith, he did it with the Dragons, he did it with the Eels, and he did it with the Roosters. I always thought, I don't know if it's past his time now because the game's changed a lot, but I always thought that back then he was the best coach that I've seen at coming in, stripping a team back and rebuilding it. But then when you get to the grand final, it's time to step out and bring someone else in for the last bit. Poor guy. I feel for him. I honestly feel for him.
I don't know about that, man, because he lost 3 grand finals to Wayne Bennett and lost 1 to Andrew Johns. If he won those 3 grand finals, he'd be on 3 grand finals. Wayne Bennett would be on 4.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I mean?
If my grandmother had balls, she'd be
But
my
still,
grandfather.
he lost to a good coach.
No,
he didn't
absolutely.
lose to
Absolutely.
a dummy, you know what I mean?
He should never have lost 2010 against the Dragons. No offense, but with the Roosters side they had, mind you, not to mention one of the Roosters side Morris ran about 3 metres over the sideline,
Yeah.
and no one seemed to see it.
The Saints were pretty dominant, man, the whole season.
No, I know, but I just
They did have a good late flurry, but I thought
you think with 4 bites of the cherry he would have got at least one,
Yeah.
but I don't see the purpose of. You said they're thinking of reappointing Fittler
Yeah.
or extending him and bringing in a coaching director. What's the point of the
Crazy.
director?
I think I know.
Crazy.
I think
Crazy.
no.
Is it
I can
is it
see
to oversee his decisions or
No. I reckon it's oversee the selection process because he'll pick players
That-
that are tough and will do the job.
So-
Because at the moment, I don't like their selection process.
I'm
It's
a bit
crap.
behind. Do they have a selection committee, or is it just the coaches? Because once upon a time they had a selection committee, right?
I think it's Fiddler and his brother-in-law.
I put Greg Alexander. I personally prefer the coach picks the team
Yeah.
for me in any scenario, right?
Well, he is.
And then you live and die by the sword. And no offense to Freddie, but he got this year horribly wrong. I know he started well, 3 out of the first 4, whatever, but he also lost the series that was against the worst Queensland team of all time, wasn't it?
Let me explain to you something about Freddie at the moment and about the two coaches. Have you seen a boxer who goes into a ring and there's a boxer who's got him mentally every time, beats him every time. He tries this and that, but when he walks into that ring, he knows he's defeated. That's what Billy's done to Brad Fiddler. It's over.
You know what Mike Tyson?
telling you now,
Mike Tyson always says
That, you know what? Look at him on the couch on Channel 9, okay, and look at their body languages. This is on a Sunday thing. It's over.
it's true.
Arthur,
It's true.
over.
You know what
He's
Mike
got it.
Tyson
He's
always
finished
says?
him.
Mike Tyson always says, "I beat my opponent in the stare down."
Yeah, it's over. You got to get a stick. You got to get some man, some real mongrel in there, right? Who can go back and tell them and give them a why and make them understand why they're playing, who they're playing for. All you have to do is listen to the press conferences, and that tells you all.
Game 3, they're talking about. Do we start looking at next year? For me, you look at winning Game 3, whatever it takes. You worry about next year after it.
Well, I answer that question to you. Billy wants to win 50-0.
Of course.
So you can worry about next
Yeah.
first game next year, but how about this
Yeah.
week here? He wants to win 50-0. Billy wants to win, and I can guarantee you one thing: you know how it's a dead rubber. There's no dead rubber for
Not
Billy
for the
Slater.
Queenslanders.
There's
No.
no dead rubber for Billy Slater. I'll tell you here now. They're going to be mentally and physically prepared. You know what I mean?
So is it, for example, Teddy's time, or do we stick with
Yeah,
him?
he's copying a lot, isn't he? I feel sorry for Teddy.
Look. Are we talking about the game 3? Look, I wouldn't change much.
No.
I wouldn't change much.
Just stick.
You can't change
Just stick
much.
with what they got. Give these guys a
Give
chance.
them a chance to earn back a little
earn
bit
back.
of.
Nico, there's going to be changes because the 2 centers are gone. Okay.
Latrell will be fit, won't he? If he
No,
doesn't-
he's out.
No,
Oh, is
6
he out,
weeks.
is he?
6
out.
weeks.
Oh,
So
okay, I
how do
didn't
you
realise.
take someone into camp?
Yeah.
Okay, and then he
That's
goes
what-
back and it's 6 weeks. You know what? Dimitri blew up Deluxe.
That's what Slater didn't do.
Of course he didn't do.
Because he didn't bring in, and we talked about this. We've talked about this even before Game 1 about bringing players in who are underdone.
They weren't ready.
Yeah, but that's
training 2 days before you play or whatever.
Yeah, but Ponga told him not to pick him because Ponga, he avoided that situation from Billy. And a lot of the New South Wales, Trebojevic and Latrell should have said, count us out. They should have done it, man. They should have made the decision easier for
They
Fittler.
should have made it easier.
Yeah.
That's what's annoying me about this
I
selection
suppose
thing.
there's a lot of
And that's what we talked
could have,
about.
should have.
That's what we said before game 1. Ari. We said that the Queenslander will say, "Listen, I'm not ready."
Exactly.
Mentally,
Like they put the
physically.
state first before themselves. They don't care what.
Yeah, they don't.
It's just crazy.
I know that these things tend to get glorified, with when you win, right? The old saying that the person who wins gets to rewrite history the way they want it to be seen, Apparently, Billy Slater didn't want to coach Queensland, but they reached out to him and said, your state needs you.
Oh,
and
wow.
He goes, all right, I'll do it. Don't know how true it is, but that's what they were saying, yeah.
Okay.
He's done a phenomenal job. We heard from when he signed on, months and months ago, when he signed on, they were already talking about he's working day and night to prepare, and he was just he got on the phone with everyone who could potentially be in the squad months and months ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah.
Nico.
Even the way he talks and carries himself, everything in the press conferences, he just
Yeah,
sounds
it's just
sharp.
amazing,
He's
right?
just really good.
And-
And you look at him and I go, if I was a player, I'd love to play with this
Yeah,
guy. This
I'd die
guy,
for him.
I'll die for him.
And let's not make the mistake either. Look, we're talking about the Blues. Queensland were phenomenal.
They were great.
But their defence was amazing. Like, they were turning up. They were everything.
Absolutely.
Everything.
And you know who the best player was in that team? A guy that New South Wales would never pick called Lindsay Collins. He was phenomenal.
Absolutely.
How good was he?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If you think about what Ari just said, people like Cotter, New South Wales will never pick Cotter.
Yeah.
Collins.
Collins.
New South Wales will never pick Collins.
Capewell did the same a couple of years ago. He just took the whole Origin series on his own and won it. Remember?
Who's that?
Capewell.
Yes.
A couple of years
Capewell,
ago.
basically,
Out of
yeah.
nothing. Queensland went
That
dead.
was that
Neville's.
series where
The
apparently
Neville's.
they had the worst team
Exactly.
ever.
And Capewell just... And that's Queensland. Had produced those guys. We don't produce any. We get the guy that's on playing good football in NRL and expect him to play the same. Queensland will get the guy playing good in NRL and he'll play
Phil,
this
better.
for Origin.
Talking about podcasts, I listened to Six Tackles with Gus. And I love listening to Phil Gould. I learn something every time I listen to him. Love him or hate him, I learn something about rugby league every time I listen to him. They did a quick one the following day. It was only a short one, like 20 minutes or half an hour or something. And he was talking about, he was saying, New South Wales just do not have that thing that Queensland have. Yeah. They keep saying they do, but they don't. And the only person I've seen, and I'm not suggesting for a moment that he should be coaching or whatever, but the only person I've seen who has that thing is Andrew Johns. I see him get pissed off on television for real. He's the only one I see like that. I don't know. Am I wrong? He's the only one I see like that.
Spot on, mate. And there's a family dispute over, isn't there?
Yeah, he's not talking to his brother.
Because of that.
Because Matty Johns was praising Queensland. That's how passionate Andrew is about it.
Yeah.
Now they're not talking.
Yeah.
Did you see that little thing with Cameron Munster?
Yeah, I saw it.
Where Channel 9, they interviewed Munster, and at the end of the interview, Munster said something like, how's your brother? Or are you guys talking again? Yeah. And Andrew Johns goes, what brother?
Yeah.
But that's how passionate he is about New South Wales. And that's what's missing, even though he's part of the coaching staff.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just a really weird one. I don't know.
I feel a bit sorry for Fittler because he put a lot of trust. He went back to some old guys that had played for him before and he put trust in them. I trust you guys. They let him down at the end.
Did he prepare him properly?
I just don't know if he did.
I don't know.
It's easy for me to sit here and say it, but I just don't know if he did.
No. It's what we see.
Yeah.
It's you know what we say about is and and maybe, but we saw in front of us. We saw exactly what happened.
I said to George earlier on, and I don't mean to sound biased or anything. It's easy to say it always after the fact, right?
Yeah.
But in hindsight, I thought Gutho would have been a great number 14 option because he's been playing fantastic and he can cover every position in the back line.
Absolutely.
But again, no one prepares to lose a centre. You know what I mean? Like, you don't prepare your bench to lose a centre.
Yeah.
But he had Cam Murray. I just think Damien Cook tried his heart out, but he's a hooker. He's never played centre.
I'll tell you something about, well, let's talk about rugby league. The minute Turbo went down, okay, poor Damien was the spot. Cherry just kept on going to the well.
Of course.
Going to the well, going to the well, going to the well. I can guarantee you, if that happened to the other way around, okay, New South Wales wouldn't go to the well.
Yeah.
They didn't go to the well. You know what I mean? And goes back to preparation. You know what I mean? But let me tell you,
Queensland defended really well.
What they did to poor Damien on the night, it looked worse because the ball was buzzing.
He tried his heart out.
He tried his heart out.
Look, let me
It's
make.
not his fault.
Let me make this very clear. I think every player who went on tried their hardest and wants to win. The only issue is that one team is prepared to die and the other one's prepared to get hurt a little bit. That's the only difference, okay? Now we've got to make one team or both teams prepared to die. Then we've got a classic Origin.
Can I give you a little analogy on that? I just thought about it now, and maybe it syncs up with Origin. Rocky IV? We love our Rocky movies, right?
Love Rocky.
Where he agrees to fight Ivan Drago after he's killed Apollo, and he's arguing with his wife. And Rocky says something. He said, it goes back to this want, purpose, will thing, right? And I know it's just a movie, but anyway.
I love this. My favorite movie.
Rocky says to his wife, he's going out there to kill me. But to do that, he has to stand in front of me.
That's right.
And for that, he's got to be willing to die himself.
That's right.
And I don't know if he's ready to do that.
Exactly. That's exactly.
Does that make sense?
Exactly what I mean.
Yeah.
Exactly what I mean.
Yeah.
Exactly what I mean. New South Wales isn't willing.
Yeah.
Okay. And the thing is, and we can dodge this all we want. We can put directors. We got to find one person to get him in that state of mind. You know what? Is it Ricky? I don't know. Is it Madge? I don't know. Okay. Is it Volandis? I don't know. I don't care.
You know what else scares me? New South Wales have always had the bigger pool to choose from, right? And like you said, we've got a better team on paper, right?
No doubt.
We're going to get to this later, but Reece Walsh is out of game 3. Ponga's there, but they won't use him.
They're not going to use him.
They'll go to AJ Brimson.
They will go to Brisbane.
If we lose Teddy, who goes to fullback?
Penrith fullback.
Dylan Edwards.
And then who? So Dylan Edwards is great, but he hasn't played Origin yet, right?
Yeah. Sure.
It just seems like they've got more depth than we do.
At the moment, there's some youngsters coming
It just,
through.
I don't know, it feels that way. By the way, I'd love to see him get a shot because I reckon he's one of the best fullbacks in the competition.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, Teddy's Teddy.
But what else can we say about the game?
Back to your comment about how Andrew Johns gets rolled up
Yeah.
when we say that New South Wales aren't passionate enough.
Remember last year after they lost it on live TV?
Exactly. Well, if the New South Wales players, if all that get pissed off with us feeling that way, well, they're the only ones that are going to prove us wrong by winning something and showing it on the field. They're not showing it. Like every year.
Thank you.
That
Thank
should
you, Adi.
motivate them more.
Thank
the
you,
fact
Adi.
that we think of them that should be pissing them off. But no. They prove us right. They go, yep, Queensland wanted it more. Okay, Queensland won again. You know what I mean? We're sick of seeing it.
Thank you for saying that, Adi. Thank you for saying
Did you
that.
see Phil's post-match presser?
I saw both because it made me angry.
I don't know if he was just trying to deflect, but he goes, I thought we played well.
Yeah,
He goes, when I look at the score, he goes, I don't see, really? You must be the only one who doesn't see the holes, man. It looks like a block of Swiss cheese.
He sees it.
Yeah.
He doesn't admit it. And this is the other issue with Fiddler and his brother-in-law or whatever, whoever he is. Okay, they're not humble people. They don't admit. You know what? Say that. You know what?
Yeah.
We didn't play well. We had issues. We got that issue. They know exactly the issue.
Yeah.
They just can't. They're not the type of people to bring that to the table. I can guarantee you about that. Okay, because they would have. Okay. Now if Reddy jumps in, okay, and has a few early victories because of the cattle, not because of his coaching. Make no mistake.
Yeah.
Okay. Now all of a sudden, when he has a fierce opponent in front of him. Okay, because Origin is as much as it is about coaching and playing. Okay, we buckles. Okay, and we'll see what happens in the third game.
And you know what? Just on what you just said about being humble and whatnot, how humble was Billy Slater in victory? He didn't dig the heels in. He was very respectful, wasn't he? I couldn't stand him as a player.
Yeah.
But I
he's
just
a grub. Love him as a grub.
I just seem to be gaining more and more respect for him
brilliant.
every time I see him, to be honest.
You know what? And we'll
he
end.
didn't dig the heels in.
No.
He didn't.
We'll end.
He was all class.
We'll end this like this. On Sunday, watch the footage, the Channel 9 footage show.
Yeah.
The two men sit next to each other and look at their body languages.
Yeah.
And you tell me who's going to win next week.
Remember what I said a few weeks ago? I said when you look at the
Mentally
two
gone.
coaches,
Mentally gone.
Slater looks like the one who's been there for 5 years, and Phil looks like he's coaching his first game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mentally gone.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about the women's Origin?
Did you watch it, Adi?
Bits and pieces, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
The first game was a bit scrappy. The girls hadn't played for a while.
Yeah.
The second game was outstanding, Nicola. Outstanding. It really was a good game. They did score 3 tries all, but New South Wales won 18-14, but didn't win the Shield.
Aggregate.
On aggregate, yeah.
She's gotta be 3 games next year.
Strange feeling. A strange feeling. So this is more to the NRL than to the game. And I know why they don't want a third game, because they think it's not financial viable. Guess what? 18,000 people at Townsville and over 1 million viewers on television.
1 million, wow.
Yeah, over 1 million people on
That says it
television.
all.
Okay,
That's awesome.
so in other words, the third biggest watched sport on television after NRL, AFL, then rugby league. Okay, guess what? Get it through your head, NRL. Get it through your head.
The market's there.
NRLW is the future. Okay, nurture it. Pay the girls. Give them money. Give them everything they need, and they will pay you back in a couple of years in spades. It is the jewel in the crown. I'm telling you, it's the jewel in the crown. Okay, so get off your asses and do the right thing. We need 3 games next year. Not even a question. Okay, we needed more in
The
season.
market's there.
The market's
We
definitely
know
there.
that now from the results of this.
Can you imagine if you did make them all professionals? Can you imagine the standard of this game? It's jump. There's only half the girls. There's 3 marquee girls. Okay, the other half in the team, let's say semi work, and the back end half, okay, have to work as well. And the game is jumped up in quality threefold in 2 years. Imagine if they're all professionals.
I see where you're going. I think it's been evolving organically, and I think we'll get there. And I think that the fact that it's not being rushed, I think will long term benefit the game.
Exactly.
It's going to get there.
It will.
And I think it has to.
It just takes
from
it slowly.
everything. It's just the women's game is growing at every level, right?
The second women's Origin game was better than any Origin as a spectacle of rugby league. Like, trust me, you know what I mean. Look, that's where I'm at. I can't wait till the NRLW season because all these girls are scattered in all around the clubs. There's probably more Roosters than any other team in the New South Wales side, but I can't wait. It's going to be good.
Now, with this game, it was 18-10 the first game, so Queensland were 8 points up.
8 points ahead, yeah.
In the second game, at halftime, they were winning 14-6, so they had a handy lead.
Yep.
And New South Wales ended up coming back to win 18-14. So
good.
in the end,
that
last 40 minutes, in the end, they nearly turned it. One more try converted, and they win that game, the whole series. So good effort by the New South Wales women to come back from 14-6.
I believe the New South Wales girl missed a few goals, if I'm not wrong.
Now
Queensland.
The Queensland lost. Okay.
Yeah, they got 3 out of 3.
Now the first game was in New South Wales and the second in Queensland. Am I right?
Yeah. Townsville.
So it's following a soccer format of 2 games aggregate score.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
If it followed the format which only changed, I think it was 2 years ago or 3 years ago, the away goals rule. Maybe New South Wales would have won it.
There you go. What would have happened then?
I don't know. You'd have to look at what was the score in the first game?
18-10, and then it was 18-14. They only won by 4 points. So if they scored
Queensland would have won
Yeah.
with the away goals rule then, because they scored more. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, because they would have won 22. So it would have been the same.
Interesting. They would have had a penalty shootout. Kicks from the sideline.
They scored the away goals.
Kicks from the
No, then there was on penalties or something like that. So look, it's crazy.
There's got to be 3 games.
They were the girls who had won weren't cheering or weren't happy. They were walking stunned. The Queenslanders had won the Shield, but they felt a bit empty.
Well, because they
You know what
lost
I mean?
the game.
Yeah,
Right?
So
It's
strange. It's strange. But look, I'm relying on the NRL to do the right thing and give the girls 3 games. I'd like to see it in season, but I understand about having it now to grab the wave of the men's Origin. I get it. The girls are just not prepared. They haven't played since
their
World
first
Cup.
game. The first game was their first hit out really before
Well,
they hadn't even played NRL yet. So.
what a great
World Cup was their last game.
What a great
Stupid,
what a great bookend to the season to have the women's 3-game Origin series in November.
Sensational.
Right?
Sensational. No. After the grand final, sensational.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
What a great idea. And you know what? I'm telling you now, it'll be highly watched and it'll be great rugby league. And they're tough as I'm telling you now, the hits in the NRLW is hard as the men, if not harder.
They've got a shortened season than the men, so they can easily do split. They can have half a season, Origin, and then the other half.
Yes, they can.
They can easily do
They
it.
can. And they need 80 minutes. They need 80 minutes. This 70 minutes is, in England they even play 80 minutes.
Are we going to touch on that? The Queenslanders get equal pay. You know that?
Queensland's get
Yeah.
equal pay.
Yeah. So they should be playing 80 minutes as the men.
Oh, yeah. No, just give them 80 minutes. I don't know why.
It's like tennis. They get equal pay, but they play less sets.
Do they get equal pay now in tennis?
Yeah, but they play less sets.
Okay. Well, look, I don't know about that. They need 80 minutes. It just doesn't feel right. And you know what? When you watch it, it feels short. It actually feels short. But look, I loved it. It's great. I can't wait for the NRLW. I so can't wait for the NRLW. And that was it was really good, Nicola.
Let's roll into controversy corner. A few hot topics. Got some great comments over the past couple of weeks. We're getting slammed left and right. Love it. Keep it coming. Keep it coming, guys. I love it.
How about you give Artie the content to that? The content.
I actually haven't seen them all. I don't read the comments personally myself, but I get told about it.
The Wonder Boy does.
Yeah.
The video he made, the short he made last week. Well, he got a lot of
did he?
He got a lot of watches, whatever. But yeah, he got a lot of slam. He got slammed
Wow.
pretty well
Yeah,
too.
very
Slammed
popular.
pretty
Keep
hard.
them coming. I love when people call me an armchair expert, but they're the ones taking the time to write a comment, and they don't put their name to it. Apparently.
Love
But
it.
anyway, Arthur, tell us about Ben Hunt. What's going on?
Mate, Ben Hunt. Look, it's a very weird feeling being a Dragon supporter, but one thing that really has annoyed me is listening to Flanagan on radio, 2GB, a couple of days ago, after the meeting they had on Monday. He said what happened during the meeting, but right at the end, he more or less says a comment where he has no doubt that this all started because other clubs are talking to him, all right? Because if you look at his press release when he re-signed last year, he was happy with his decision. 2 more years, loved the club. This all changed within a couple of weeks. Now, one thing that annoys me with that is, where's the NRL? How come they're not stepping in?
Because just to clarify, clubs are not allowed to talk.
They're not. They're showing expressions of interest, right? Now, one thing as a Dragon supporter which annoys me is us fans, St George fans, are rubbish to the NRL because Taylor Mayne, right, got suspended, but they said, you know what, we want him to play in the finals for the fans.
Yeah, they withheld this.
We don't want to upset the Penrith fans because we want, so they made Taylor Mayne, they allowed him to play in the finals, but then have his suspension played after that next year. Now, what about me as a Saints fan?
Yep.
I'm watching a guy, my favourite player, getting approached from all these clubs from everywhere to sign up. This is our favourite, our captain.
Just on Taylor May, he got ruled out for the season. So does that mean he's still suspended for the first 2 games next year?
I don't know, but look at the decision.
Because it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, but the NRL made that decision based on the fans. They wanted to care about. But what about us St George fans? We have just
ridiculous.
been punished through this coaching disaster.
Yeah.
And then now we're going through this. Mate, you're talking about St George, 11 years in a row. You go to Poland, you go to Scotland, the only NRL team they know is the St George team that won 11 years in a row. If only all the other countries around the world knew how this team gets treated. Like, absolute rubbish. Yeah. If that was a Penrith player now, if Nathan Cleary was getting approached, having expression of interest coffees with a general manager of football and all this other stuff, would the NRL have stepped in then? Yeah. I don't know. He doesn't play for St George, so we won't know. But why is the NRL doing anything about this? What I would like to see now is, for the next 2 years, I want Canterbury to play 50% of Hunt's salary, the Gold Coast Titans 30% and 20% by the Broncos, and us St George fans get the $900,000 to buy another player, and then let them stick it up their ass because they're playing the salary.
Are they looking into the Broncos' approach at all? I read something about it.
Well, now they've turned face now, and Broncos said, "Oh, look, we respect the decision, and we're not going to, he's not going to play."
Because
for
I
us.
heard Kevin Walters when he was asked about it a couple of weeks ago, and he goes, "Look, if he's available, he's someone I definitely look at."
Yeah,
but you can't tell me they're not talking behind the curtain.
It's terrible, mate. Now, the last thing I heard was after the meeting, Ben Hunt was never going to leave mid-season because he's got his family to uproot them in 1 week to go over to Queensland. Yeah. It's not possible. So this mid-season switch came out of somewhere, out of nothing. So he's definitely staying for the rest of the year. But what happens after that, I don't know. But
do you see him being there next season?
I don't. I don't want him to be there, to be honest. If the way he acted was like a pork chop. And at the end of the day, the first team that touched him up is going to get the raw end of the stick because he's going to end up going to Queensland anyway. So, because that's where apparently he wants to go. But let me ask you a question, right? You're Flanagan now.
Yeah.
Do you want him in the team next year? I know he's a great player, but do you want this guy with an attitude like that who doesn't want to be in the side?
As good as he is and everything, he's going to be 34 next year or this year. Next year.
Yeah.
If I'm Flanagan, I'm stripping the team back. I'm looking at the Lomaxes. I'm looking at the youngsters. I'm looking at the players I'm going to build the team around.
Yeah,
And I don't want anyone who doesn't want to be there.
exactly. How do you feel about that? Would you, if you're Flanagan now, what would you feel like?
First of all, what you said is 100% right. It's a disgrace what happens behind closed doors in terms of, be it coaches, be it CEOs, be it, let's say, Phil Gould approaching players who he knows they're in contract, who he needs, who he coaches to get out of their contracts, and it's backfired on him. Thank God.
But let's
So
not
it's
let's
a
not kid
disgrace.
ourselves and say that it's only Phil
No,
Gould.
no,
We know
no,
it's
no,
happening,
no,
right?
It's everyone.
Yeah, no,
it's
definitely.
everyone. But just recently, let's say Phil's been doing some OT on phones. And we saw pictures of him, Phil Gould, and Serrato at the end of last year at a coffee shop in Cronulla. Now, I'll tell you now, they weren't talking about the kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, of course that's where it's come from, Marty, and it's a disgrace. And if you ask me, the integrity unit should jump on this, should go to Isaac Moses' house, seize his computer, seize his mobile phones, check all the...
It's not Isaac Moses.
Who's his...
It's an unknown guy. It's a guy, Cole something. I can't remember.
Okay, well then my apologies.
Isaac Moses.
My apologies
That
to
guy's
Isaac.
everywhere, yeah.
My apologies to Isaac, whoever it is. Raid his house, take all his phones, his computers, and see if we can pin something on it. Because somewhere along the line, they've got to get scared a little bit. They're going to keep on doing it, but if we leave it open like this, we're going to have this scenario. You've been upset. St George are going to lose a
it's
marquee
disgraceful.
player, and it's a marquee player. It's a marquee.
Easy
player.
to say, but I still think the big fix to all this, and it's what we all want, is for the club to get itself into a strong position with a strong culture where players don't want to leave. You know, the good, like the good clubs. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Not the bad clubs, but none of us are in that situation. But like the elite clubs.
Well, Flanagan hasn't put his feet under the desk yet. So once he
No.
gets full control,
Yeah.
we'll get there.
Yeah.
But they're trying to do this before he gets under the... You know, I feel sorry
No,
for
but just
Flanagan.
but think about, and what I meant by that comment was think about the shit that Ben Hunt's gone through from his 300th dinner that no one showed up to from the club to the presentation night where three players showed up.
Sorry, mate, I've got to stop you there. The shit Ben Hunt's gone through, the shit the fans have gone through because Ben Hunt got his mate to be coach.
Yeah.
Ben Hunt got McCulloch to be his hooker.
Yeah.
Ben Hunt got Maguire, the
Yeah.
nice player, the leadership guy from England to be
Yeah.
part of our team. All his mates. Ben Hunt got his best
his
mate
wish.
to coach and
For his
all his
wishes,
mates around him. And we went to shit from that.
But
So we've treated him like
but
gold,
that's the
mate.
club's fault.
No,
It is the club's fault.
but we've been listening to Ben Hunt, and now he's crying poor that
But
he's
that's
disgusted.
my
Like,
point,
so
though.
that's
The
terrible.
players had too much influence. That's the
He
club.
did.
So
Yeah.
what,
That doesn't happen in a strong club.
yeah, but
Exactly.
what Arthur's saying is
When I say strong club, I'm referring to the administration.
Yeah.
Right?
So what Arthur's saying is when you give somebody your heart and soul,
Yeah,
okay,
he
and
owes.
then he turns around and says, "Well, I want out now."
Yeah.
Okay, well that's wrong. And
No, I
with
agree.
you.
That's
I agree.
terribly
That's wrong.
I agree.
But back to your point in terms of the question you asked me, I'm a little bit different to you guys. Marquee players don't grow on trees, unfortunately. If we can convince Ben to stay for the rest of his tenure, I'll tell you now, that's probably what Flanagan wants.
I-
Yeah.
If you ask what Flanagan wants,
Well, he's already
really,
said he wants him.
okay,
Yeah.
he will want that.
I don't
I'll
think
say
Ben
it
Hunt will
again.
stay, though.
I'll say it again. Marquee players like Ben Hunt do not grow on trees.
Yeah.
Do you think he's had a conversation with Des Hasler yet? Or is it too early for that?
Well, look, when you
Because
think...
apparently that was the destination for
Look-
next
look at
season.
the-
It's true.
look- think of the time. Think of the how everything fell, and think about the time period that everything fell. I think conversations have been had.
Yeah.
But can I tell you something, guys? There's another... We had this similar situation last year with Payne Huss. He was adamant he wanted to leave, remember?
Yeah, yeah.
He turned
was
it around.
virtually at the door.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping we get that situation where
But
now it's just changed. And he
He's not
loves
at the
it
end
there.
of his career. He's at the start.
That's true.
He's
That's
at the
true.
beginning.
And that
But
was more
before-
about money.
And before wanting to leave to
Yeah.
being there, that's what I'm
Yeah.
hoping we get out of this.
You-
now.
Yeah, he was virtually gone, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So what do? Do you put your foot down and say you're not going anywhere? And there's the Reggie's coach if you don't want to play, or do you try to get something out of? Is he going to go to Gold Coast? Let's say he goes to Gold Coast. You're trying to get something out of Gold Coast, and how? what are they going to give you for Ben Hunt?
Tino.
First of all, that's
no
he's
problem.
not going
I'll take
anywhere.
Tino.
No problem. But that's
Hey,
the only.
hands off.
that's
I
the-
want him.
That's what we got to do.
But
You
that
want
is-
Hunt?
Look, I
but
commend
Nico, that is the only equal to Ben Hunt, Tino.
On Monday morning, early Monday morning, everyone would have bet their house that Hunt played his last
Yes.
game,
Yeah.
right? I commend the club for putting their foot down and saying, you're not going anywhere, mate.
Yeah.
And that's Flanagan.
Right? Now, if I'm running the club, that's the stance I would take. And internally, I would say, okay, we need to decide, along with Flano, who hasn't even started the role yet, right? But we do need to involve him.
Yeah.
Do we want him here next season or not? If we do, well, we've got the rest of this year to convince him.
Yep.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, no one, if he really wants to leave, like we've seen happen 100 times, 1,000 times before, if a player doesn't want to be at your club, there's just no point keeping him.
Look,
We've seen that so many
it's
times.
unstabilising for the club.
Yeah.
But again, my view is,
But he seemed happy there.
yeah. But the point is, you can't just say to him after all this time, after everything that's happened the last 3-4 years, okay, go.
Yeah.
And what we just write off 4 years of our history of our lives for one person. Let's get something back. Let's get something back for him.
Exactly.
Well, I
Of
don't want
course.
money.
'Cause
I don't
he's-
want money.
'Cause
Money
he's
means
contracted
nothing.
for another 2 years.
2 years. He hasn't started his new contract.
Yeah.
Hasn't started it, Nicola. But you
bad.
know what? If Tyne says, I'll give you what, $1 million for him, well,
Yeah.
I don't want $1 million. What does that mean? I want to see cattle. Cattle
Yeah.
win games.
Yep.
$1 million don't win games.
Exactly.
But who are you going to give me? Sexton? Guess what? Sexton, Hunt.
No, it's got to be like for like.
I'll take Hunt.
And
any
you're
day.
talking about an incumbent Queensland Origin hooker,
Australian hooker too.
Australian hooker, who's won the Player of the Series, 2 out of the last 4 series?
2 out of 3. 2 out of 3. Yeah.
That's not someone you can easily replace.
That's what I mean.
Even
He's
at his
a
age.
marquee player.
That just makes the Origin sound even worse. Their halfback is 34. Their hooker's 33. Jeez. Anyway.
Can I just end that on something and dovetail into our next topic? 'Cause
Yeah.
I know it's going to come up anyway. But all right, you said before you know good on St George for digging their heels in.
Yes.
Right? Now, as a fan as well, all we keep hearing from Hooper and all these other medias is what a basket case our club is. Right. That's what I keep hearing. We're a basket case. We're a mess. Everything. Right now. After what they did on Monday, I thought that was fantastic. After the signing of Flanagan, fantastic, right? Now, I'll go into our next topic. Holbrook last week got asked. He got sacked, and he came out and he said, I did not see that coming. There was no transparency. He goes, it was just terrible. I didn't get my best team. I didn't get a chance. Like, he was basically, pretty pissed off about what happened. Complete opposite to what St George did to Griffin. He had a lot of transparency. He knew it was coming, right? I never heard one person say that it was handled terribly, they're a basket case or anything. Now, do you think that the way Holbrook was treated is better than the way Griffin was treated? And why do they get the free ride? Why do they get nothing spoken about?
Well, let me start with James Hooper.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Now, we've all got our critics and we've got our critics too, right?
Yeah.
But of all the media personalities, he's my least favourite.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? No, I'm serious, right?
It's a porcupine.
No, because the thing that irritates me about James Hooper is that, and look, no dramas there. He's an out and out Tiger supporter. He doesn't hide that, right? But he's got the dumbest views. Like he's so biased on certain opinions. And every time, and if you haven't noticed this, start keeping an eye out. Every time he's on 360, he's always got some pre-rehearsed stupid comedy crack that he practices in front of the mirror. Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah.
He's been practicing in front of the mirror for 40 minutes before you know what I mean? He just does, to me, he's just not genuine. I don't get anything from him.
Yeah.
And you're right. He attacks Deluxe. Like he just attacks.
It attacks,
right?
mate. It's
he
bad.
attacks everyone.
Like, it's ridiculous.
Can I answer?
Yeah, sure.
About and me and you, it looks like we've got different views. The club is run and owned by one family. The board consists of him, his wife, and a few guys who get paid by this guy. The checks has got his name on it. He can do whatever he wants to do. He done the right thing. He wasn't performing, and if Hook they did that to Hook 2 years ago, you will be much happier and much better off, and you might have had Desi. Okay, you might have been in the top 4 at the moment. Okay, so I commend what the Gold Coast done. I agree what the Gold Coast done. They've done it a year too late, if you ask me.
I think it was much cleaner.
Okay,
It was much cleaner.
and you know what? I liked it. Holbrook came out, showed passion. He'll get another job because he showed that much passion. Okay. Not only that, they got rid of more rubbish. The Australian coach, he's going to go too.
What was he
He's
doing now?
Well,
Nothing,
Malmaniga
nothing.
was blindsided. He didn't know anything about it either.
But what's his
what-
actual role there?
He's
What does he
advisor.
do?
He advises Holbrook. Okay.
Okay.
But Artie, you got to understand this. One family owns the club. There's no board really. There's a board which everybody gets paid by me. So I make a decision. He's like that. Yeah. Okay. One family gives their hard earned. Okay. Millions every year to float this club. One family.
Yeah.
Okay. They gave him a lot of rope.
Don't forget.
They did.
Don't
They
forget
kept that he wanted cattle. They got him
club-
cattle. I think they got cattle. I think they got cattle top 6
that club was rescued by the NRL.
originally
when they had no money.
before the family came.
Yeah,
I
but you know
forget
what?
that name,
Going to
but,
Artie's point, and it's a good one, and I kind of see both sides now that you've said your piece, because when you think about it, the Gold Coast, it was like bang, bang, it's done.
Yeah.
And
Done.
you're right, no
Finished.
one's really talking about it now.
Done. Finished.
Clean, right?
Clean.
Whereas the whole Griffin thing, it's just been dragging the Dragons through the media
3
for
years
months.
now.
Yeah.
3 years, man.
So,
3 years. After the first year.
So like, I think the Dragons, they gave their coach more of an opportunity to turn things around and do whatever, whereas the Gold Coast didn't. They blindsided their coach. I don't know which one.
You know what? In terms of this, St George, in hindsight, it's wonderful. But the minute he brought back all Ben Hunt's mates, which we didn't know that. We just thought he was bringing older players, dollar dazzers, we'll call them back then. He wasn't doing that. Ben Hunt was saying, why don't we get Macca? Good idea.
Yeah.
Let's get Macca. Why don't we get, what was the hooker?
Macca. McCullough.
Oh, well, I
You thought of Maguire.
Maguire, yeah.
Yeah,
Let's get
Corey
Maguire.
Norman. We
Let's
had,
get,
we had Norman playing.
Maybe
next to
get him,
maybe,
let's get that.
maybe Ben Hunt had a favoured nations agreement in his contract. You know what that is?
No.
Favoured nations. It's when if I've got a favoured nations contract, whatever I earn is whatever I earn. If I bring whoever comes in, if they come in on more money than me, then my salary immediately goes up to match
Okay,
them,
well,
so that
about
no one
that,
ever
but-
gets paid more than me.
No, I'm sure
That's a Hulk
happened too.
Hogan contract.
Oh, of course it is. Of course it is. Of
Favoured
course it is.
nations.
But look, if it happened even a year ago, well, we wouldn't be talking about St George now, and Flanagan will be a year in rebuilding.
If you ask me, I think both clubs will be better off next season.
I think so.
Des Hasler, Shane Flanagan.
Yeah, but Holbrook's team, they're only 2 points out of the 8. They were equal with Parramatta when he got sacked on 18 points.
Did you hear what he said? He said, I got sacked after a win.
Exactly. He got sacked after a win, and he got his team to a final series.
They negotiated with Hasler for 10 days,
Yeah, but
and they did it. And I saw the story break, and I'm like, I actually saw Hasler knew before I saw the story breaking about Holbrook being sacked. And you know what, to answer your question, everything you said before about the Dragons, if you go to Scotland, the Dragons, I think, have the
St. George.
largest fan base
St. George.
of any rugby league
everywhere
club,
in the
right?
world. Everywhere in the world.
And that's
St.
why
George.
people like James Hooper attack them, because there's more juice there. There's no juice at the Gold Coast. No one gives a shit,
Yeah, but still.
right? No, I'm not saying
not
it's
right,
right.
man.
I'm saying that's probably why like someone like him attacks the
Yeah, but-
Dragons.
but
You know what I mean?
but-
Because there's more headline there. You know,
Yeah, but
there's more
doesn't it-
clickbait there. You
It
know,
doesn't happen in soccer. You'll never see the media attack Real Madrid and say they're a basket case. You'll never see Manchester United get treated like shit. You'll never get the big teams in all the big codes get attacked like Saints are. Whereas these guys continuously just get hammered every step they make.
You know what? I think
it's about winning games.
yeah,
When you do that,
unfortunately.
the noise goes away.
I think your luck's about to change. In it.
Oh, we'll see. Hopefully, man.
I think your luck's about to change. I think the youngsters are going to improve threefold with.
I hope
Fano.
so. Yeah.
I think the youngsters that you have got, and if you listen to the pod with Tim Sheens, he names that your youngsters or the St George Illawarra juniors, because they're talking about the West Tigers in the Campbelltown area and the Penrith. He goes, we got nothing compared to the St George Illawarra juniors. He goes, because we've got one, they got three for every position. So I suggest that your luck in the next couple of years will change.
Hope so, mate. No, we'll see what happens.
Okay, so we got to move on a bit now. But while we're on it, what do you guys think of Desi at the Gold Coast?
Outstanding. That's next year they'll make the 8 definitely. The year after they'll make top 4 and they'll be in the hunt for grand finals.
His name escapes me, but I heard on Saturday I think it was the CEO of the Titans on Triple M being interviewed.
Yeah, he wants chocolates.
And he was talking about how Desi's just hit the ground running.
Yep.
Like his contract doesn't start till November. He doesn't start his job until November preseason, but he's just dived in head first. I like Desi. I'm looking forward to seeing
it's good.
I feel a bit for Holbrook, but you know what? You guys know I watch the press conferences. You hear the dogs barking in the background. By the way, something's in the oven. I can smell it. It's phenomenal. It's making me hungry. Anyway, later. I watch the press conferences every week, right after the games, and you know, not so much this year, but last season, the Gold Coast where they just fell off a cliff. He was terrible if you watch any post-match press conference of the Gold Coast, like in the back end of last year, Holbrook's got no answers. No. He's just like the body language, right? Yep. This, like if I was running a club, one of the first things I would do is, if I can't do it myself, and I think I could, I'd bring somebody in to coach the coach of how to handle a press conference.
Absolutely.
Because the body language, how you respond, it's huge. You know what I mean? And Holbrook was just sitting there a lot of the times he couldn't answer the questions and he had his head down and it's just not, it's uninspiring. You know what? I don't know if that ended up playing a role or not, but I really liked the guy, but he was uninspiring. Yeah, there's no emotion there.
I actually like him as well, and I think he's done a half decent job. But I know something for a fact with Desi, okay? Because we know his resume. We know very well his resume. Yeah. Manly and Bulldogs, okay? He'll make a grand final.
Yeah.
Now, if he wins it, it's a separate scenario.
He did it Manly.
He will make a grand final with his Titans team in the next 3 to 4 years. Guarantee you, okay? Because that's who he is. That's what he does, okay? And for a fact, St. George with Flana, okay? He's going to prove him out of sight. He's a good development coach, okay? He's won a grand final. He knows what he does. Now, I'm not sure if they're going to win a grand final. I'm not sure if they're going to make a grand final. But you know what? They'll be in the top 4 in the next 2 years.
From second last to a premiership in 4 years.
They're a mess when they talk.
Now, fair enough, they were shooting up peptides or whatever during that time. But hey, whatever works, right?
Hey, whatever works. Whatever works. So that's what. So I applaud the decision. They've done it early. They've done it quick. Okay, they know what they want. Okay, and I'll say it again. We can't question them because one family owns the club. He puts his hand in his pocket. So how are we going to question one guy who pays all the bills?
You don't.
You don't.
What about Jerome Luluai's Instagram post?
Talk to me, Ari.
Can I just say one thing? Like, for those who haven't seen it, he's posed for a photo, trying to look cool like he always does, leaning up against the post at the stadium. Chill out, all you idiots have to work tomorrow morning. Now, no one's even sure if that was directed to the New South Wales fans or the Queensland fans, right? I think it was the New South Wales fans. And the defence they've come out with is that, he got death threats, right? First of all...
There was no death threats.
Death threats are an absolute crock of shit. It's some idiot writing something on Facebook, right? That's not a death threat. That's just an idiot writing something on Facebook. You've just gone... Whichever state you're directing it at, you've just gone and caught everyone... You're reminding the people who pay your wages. That's one thing you always allude to, right? Chill out. All you idiots have to go to work tomorrow morning. How does that make you feel?
That's a bad.
Is this a guy who just doesn't... And by the way, he was one of New South Wales' worst performers, I thought, the night before. He was terrible. In the player ratings, which I have, he got a 3.
About 3 too much. Adi, talk to me because I'm going to blow up again.
It's just a very poor choice of words, man. And this guy needs to be spoken to because his attitude.
Spoken to?
His attitude is just really bad
for
the game. And I don't know, just get a hard man to go out there.
Imagine what would have happened if it was 1988.
Exactly.
What do you think would have happened?
His teeth will be missing.
Yeah.
And you know what? If he had a Bellamy or a or a Bennett or someone like that coaching him, he wouldn't get away with
Well,
this
Ivan
type of
Cleary's
stuff.
defending him. You know
I
what they
know,
do?
and that's
They,
what-
straight
that's
away
what
they
upset
lean
me
on
a
the
bit.
mental health thing, right?
Yeah,
Did Ivan? No.
Yes.
No.
Yep.
Okay, so in a Penrith system, okay, in the Penrith system, okay, he's allowed to run right against the line, and sometimes he just jumps over it, but they bring him back, okay, and that's who he wants to be, and that's who he's got to be to perform, okay. When you let him loose, and this is what I talk about in New South Wales, okay, the right person for the team. He's not the right person, or his attitude's not the right person. Don't care how good we perceive he is, okay? He runs a rogue. He comes back to the Penrith system, okay? And Ivan's got to defend him, okay? Unfortunately.
Yeah, no, I
okay.
yeah.
So
Publicly, he probably didn't do that privately.
yeah, I'm pretty sure he didn't, okay? Because I'll talk about Ivan later when we talk about Penrith, okay? But again, he works in the Penrith system, but poor choice of words. Someone said, "You say poor choice of words."
Yeah, very poor.
Okay.
He keeps doing it.
Yeah.
He's asking, like, he brings it on himself.
I would mark him never to play any rep football.
Do you remember an Origin game a few years ago? Well, it was more than a few years ago because Darren Lockyer was still playing. I don't know what year it was. Something happened on the field, I can't remember. And Queensland got a penalty, right? And, well, no, it wasn't a penalty. They had a penalty where they kicked for touch, tapped the ball, and the camera clearly shows Lockyer saying, "Put the bomb up."
Okay.
Put the bomb up, first tackle. When the ball came down, 13 players went in for the kill.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
No, I don't remember that, but yes, that sounds.
Do you remember
right.
that?
No.
It had nothing to do with footy. I can't remember who the New South Wales players were.
Okay, they targeted someone.
Lockyer goes, put the ball
Okay.
in the air. We're going to smash them, and they
targeted
did.
someone. Well,
Right?
Okay, well, I don't know what's going to happen in terms of.
I know what's going to happen.
Lilleway.
I know what's going to happen.
I don't even know if he'll get picked for the.
It's going to end bad for him because
but-
someone's going to get it. He stood over. Was it Cherry Evans?
Yeah.
To not allow him to play the ball. You know whose fault that was? Harry Grant. Because Harry Grant was standing there at marker. Cherry Evans is on the ground. Lilleway standing literally over him so that the guy can't get...
I remember
Harry
that.
Grant, with both hands, should have pushed him so hard in the chest that he went flying 3 metres back.
And that's what he needs.
That's what... But no one's doing
That's
it.
what he needs. Look at the, and we'll go back to the Origin now. At the end of that game, when that scuffle broke up with Adokar throwing a so-called punch,
God, that was terrible.
and then those headbutts, which again were love taps, okay, which was all started by New South Wales, thinking, no, we're not going to, like children, we're not going to win the game, so we'll win the fight. Guess what? They didn't even win the fight. That was as professional men, okay. That was so immature. That was so gut wrenching in terms of embarrassing as a New South Wales supporter, okay, and that's where the problems stem. Right there, if anything, I can show you what the problems are with New South Wales. It's right in that minute, okay. And you know what? All they did was make Reece Walsh a living legend when he was sent off and point to the emblem. Okay, they've made him a legend, and I don't care what happened with.
And the referee looks good too because he sends everyone off with a minute to go.
Yeah, well,
yeah.
Game was over.
Adokar did not have a good night defensively.
Terrible,
right?
Terrible night.
Did you see the footage of him before the game?
No.
I'll send it to you.
What was he doing?
When they arrived at the stadium in the tunnel,
What was he doing?
he's singing and dancing. He's doing the indigenous dance and all that.
Good on him.
And Toto was like half joining in with him.
That was he.
And the camera, whoever was filming, turns to Turbo, who was just walking, and he's like, just walking. Like, just leave me out of it.
Yeah.
You know,
They're disconnected.
They weren't mentally prepared. Like,
weren't
you
mentally
see,
prepared.
this is before the game,
They weren't
right?
mentally-
A game like that, you walk in. I mean, we played at the dirt level of sport, right? We never made it in any, when you turn up to a game like that, you got your stone face on.
Yeah.
You're focused, right?
Yeah.
If you see the way he's carrying on,
Yeah. Okay.
And you know
say no
what?
more.
They've
Say
got,
no
more.
and you know what? It's in the warm up because they've got the jersey on as well.
Oh,
Anyway,
Great.
anyway,
great.
look,
Good on him.
Manly
They've
have
done well.
made a few signings and extended a couple of people.
Yep.
They got Luke Brooks, 4 years. Is it 2 mil, 2.5 mil?
It's about 650 a year.
Schuster, which to me was an odd one because did you say 800?
I think is it extension 800?
Yeah, 2.5 million over
So-
3 years.
So they've signed
3-year extension, 2.5.
So Schuster,
800,000.
Brooks, Cherry Evans, Jake Arthur.
No, it's
Cherry
someone,
Evans.
There's someone else. No, not Cherry
Uh,
Evans.
yeah, Cherry Evans is still there.
Yeah, oh yes,
Oh,
yes.
yeah,
yes,
sorry.
Now,
still
how
good,
many
yeah.
halves have they got?
Oh,
so
one's the back-
Schuster's going to
back
play
row.
in the back
No,
row,
back
I
row.
imagine.
Schuster's going to play the back row.
Back row,
Okay.
Yeah, Seabold's already tapped him on the shoulder, said, sorry, mate.
They've
Back
signed
row.
Tommy Talau.
Yes.
Who am I leaving out? There's somebody else. Jackson Paulo from the Roosters, who used to be at South. What do you guys think?
You know what? I feel sorry for Brooks, but I think he's made the wrong choice in terms of which coach he's going to be going under. Because Seabold's the professor. He's a very complicated man.
Never thought of that.
And to put Brooks under that system, I think he's made the wrong move.
I never thought of that. I
He
think.
should have gone to another system where it would suit him. Cowboys would have been nice. Anywhere else. But I just think the professor's going to absolutely confuse the hell out of him. And I don't know whether he's going to make him a better player.
Maybe.
What's your thoughts on that?
Another thing worth pointing out, he will be playing 6, not 7.
Exactly, yeah.
Look, I like him being with Cherry. Let's take let's not take the professor out because the professor's a big part of it all. I like the signings.
The professor could turn Cherry Evans inside out.
Yeah, true. Let's forget about my pet hate or my theory about him doing what he did at the Broncos and it's going to fall apart in 2 years. Let's forget about that. Let's just look at the team. I see nothing in Schuster to give him 800,000. At best, he's a $450,000 player. I've seen nothing. I don't know if you have seen anything.
No, I agree.
Okay.
Oh, he's got glimpses, made of some skill
but
there.
Against
but-
Parramatta
but-
last
wait a
week, he
minute,
was really bad.
But wait a minute, glimpses. So did what's his name? The hook, the 5'8" they bought. What's his name? From Balmain.
Brooks.
Yeah, I've seen glimpses from him as well.
I know.
I've seen lots of
I don't think he's
glimpses.
worth 800. Absolutely, I agree with you there. But
Show me and I'll
he's
pay you.
going to be a good player, but I don't know. It's a lot of
Interesting.
money. It's a lot of money for
a lot of-
potential. Yeah.
Yeah,
Interesting.
a lot of people told me a lot of people are going to be good players, and
Yeah.
I've seen nothing. It's a lot of money. Okay,
It is.
Tommy Talano, they're all good players. So if it all clicks, if Tommy comes back, you know what? That will be a good team. If Professor doesn't confuse the issue too much, because he's going to lose, I think, his biggest asset, which is Flano now. You're going to lose Flano. I don't know who he's going to get. I hope he gets someone competent. It seems fine. But you know what I think and what's going to happen in 2 years. I think it's going to all just crumble again.
So what about some breaking news today? We all know about the Dylan Brown saga, charged with sexual touching.
Sexual touching.
5
Love it.
counts, pleaded guilty today, took a plea bargain. 2 counts, 3 dropped. 18 months community service. NRL's told him he's free to play. After being,
go for it.
No, I agree with it, man.
No, I mean, I'm happy
they
about
can't
it.
stand him down when
No,
he's innocent. Well,
I'm
he's
happy
pleaded
about
guilty,
it, but it's just an odd one because they stood him down based on nothing, and now he's pled guilty, which we all know is a plea bargain, right? But you think they'd say, okay, a month or 6 weeks, or no, you're free to play.
Do you think it'd be a fine, like a suspension? Like players get suspended for
something,
4
right?
weeks for doing something.
Or maybe
so
it's time already served.
it's time already served. That's the only thing I can think of. But at the end of the day,
It's an odd one.
It's over with. He's
I'm glad. Like as a Para fan, I'm glad. I just think it's an odd one. I think they're so inconsistent in that area.
not really. They're just basically standing down players until the court case is done and dusted, and then once it's over, they let them go back on. Which
How'd they
I
go,
can
how'd they
understand.
go for St George?
Well, the Bellum started playing once the court case was over. Kept getting delayed.
3
It was always
years.
well, the court case
He had
was
a
a long,
retrial, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a long-winded court, mate.
I don't agree with that.
Yeah, I don't. It's,
I don't. Anyway,
sucks, but-
listen. Strange. I don't understand it. I don't even understand sexual. Was it sexual touching? I don't even understand.
I've never
that
heard.
charge.
I've heard of
Never
sexual
heard of
assault,
it.
sexual harassment. He grabbed the woman on the boobs.
Look, the main thing, Nico, he's going to wear a blue jersey this weekend. That's the main
Well, not
thing.
this weekend.
Well,
Well,
Next weekend, yeah, better.
It's
Yeah,
under
better.
the 11 year anyway. Like the charges weren't.
It's 18 months community service.
Exactly, and it was the charges were never going to be over 11 years. I don't know why he was stood down in the first place. To be honest, he
But
shouldn't
that's
have been.
what-
That's what the stand down rule is anyway.
They're a basket
Anything
case.
above 11 years,
We went
stood
through
down.
that, right? We
Yeah.
went.
So-
They're a basket
in my
case,
rant,
Nico.
which apparently I got really bad response for.
So he should have been playing anyway.
Yeah.
So it shouldn't be. I don't. see nothing wrong with it.
Is there any issues with Benji at the Tigers? Is there any truth to these rumours about Scott Fulton coming in? Tim Sheens is
Of course there
unhappy.
Yeah,
Tell me what do we need to know?
you tell me more about that, George. I sort of.
Okay. Scott and Benji are butting heads.
Is that because of the Brooks? Because
It all started with
Brooks.
Brooks.
Mm.
He wanted
it's
to
also,
keep
but it's also sorry. Let's take a step back. Benji and Tim Sheens were not told that Scott
Well,
Fulton was
that's-
hired.
that's how it
they were not
started.
consulted.
That's how it started, and they got rid of
Sheens' mate.
Sheens is
Sheens'
the right hand
mate,
man. Yeah,
which he met at Canberra in the
30,
late,
40 years ago.
late 80s. Yeah, and he's gone everywhere with him, including England. Apparently, he said it in the interview. Blindsided, got rid of him, brought in again without no knowledge, and it was more a power play than for Pandelis and Hadji, whatever his name is.
Hadji Pantelis.
Because it seemed like Tim Sheens was gaining too much power in the club. That's what it seems to be like. Anyway, so now Fulton and Benji are butting heads on player recruitments. He wants a certain type of player, and he says Fulton says that he's been hired to recruit players, and it's up to him. And you know, you'll get what you get because I
That's
recruit
crazy.
players.
That's crazy.
And that's
Yeah.
where and now we've got 10 meters and they're throwing rocks and handbags at each other. And Hadji Pandelis' view is that it's good that they're butting heads because then they'll meet up in the middle somewhere and we'll get what we want. Guess what? You know what I say? Give Benji what he wants.
Butting
He's a
heads.
coach.
Butting heads is good when it's a healthy relationship and you're debating the
The issues.
pros and cons of a potential whatever target. You mentioned earlier that on Tim Sheens' on James Graham's podcast, Sheen said Benji's coaching the team.
Benji's coaching the
I'm
team.
overseeing it. Which is what's no one should be
What,
surprised
what,
by
he,
that.
what he said exactly was Benji's coaching the team. The buck stops with me, brother.
Yeah, so no one should be surprised by that because
No.
he's preparing Benji to
That's
take
right.
over.
That's right.
How can you have an organisation where the coach is not being consulted with regards to recruitment?
It's crazy.
That's bizarre.
Nicole.
It's bizarre.
That is crazy out there. I don't know what's happening, and you know what you've done, and I thought it was the wrong decision, but it seems it could probably work out because Benji's a smart boy, and you're not giving him everything he
Well, I mean,
needs.
Scott Fulton's no Peter O'Sullivan. I mean, what did he do at Manly?
I don't know.
Who did he recruit at Manly?
Well, I don't know. Again, I don't know. But what I do know is he was pushing hard for Schuster, and Benji did not want Schuster. Benji didn't want Schuster.
Did you hear the price tag that they were asking?
Yeah, one
Yeah.
point something.
1.2 million.
Yeah. And Benji was saying over my dead body, and Fulton was saying that that's how much we need to get him to bring him over.
Based on Schuster's form this season, he's lucky to be in first grade.
He's
I
a
think.
$400,000 player.
Yeah.
I think he's lucky to be in first grade. Personally, it'd
I
be
agree.
interesting to see how that situation plays out at the Tigers. There's even rumours about Tim Sheens maybe leaving early and Benji taking over sooner rather than later. I hope not. They've got a plan in place. Let them do it. But for Christ's sake, consult with the coaching staff.
Wow.
Be
Yeah.
on the same page. Get around a table and have the healthy debates. That's good to butt heads, right? That's healthy when it's
Sheensy-
done correctly.
Sheensy said that when his 2 years are up, he'll go back to his old job.
Yeah,
He goes pending.
yeah.
He listened to the interview.
Yeah, no, I can't wait till tomorrow. Reece Walsh got a 3-game suspension for swearing at the referee.
Deserves-
Claims he wasn't. If you see the footage, it's pretty obvious that he was.
Yeah.
Any surprises there?
No, not really.
I'm hoping.
He's lucky he didn't get sent off.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that Billy grabs him and has a good chat to him, and gives him the last piece of the puzzle which is humility.
Kevin Walters needs to as well.
Okay.
This kid's it's starting to go to his head.
Kevin, don't worry about Kevin Walters.
It's starting to go to his head.
Kevin Walters is just Kevin Walters is just lucky he's got good cattle. Reece Walsh is a 10-year Origin player, the best is about 5 years away from him. Okay, when he touches the ball, the hair stands up on my back. Is electric. I'm dying to see him live. I want the Broncos to come.
But he could be his own worst enemy.
But he could be his own.
Did you hear what Cameron Smith said after Origin 1?
No, what did he say?
Reece Walsh did what young fellas do. You know, he made some larrikin type comments or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And Cameron Smith being interviewed, can't remember where it was, but he said, "No." He goes, "Rest assured that won't happen again."
Yeah, he'll sort that
Billy's
out.
already had a chat to him.
Yeah, he'll sort that out.
I remember an interview with Billy Slater before the Origin
Mm-hmm.
when Reece Walsh, when they were talking about could this kid be a potential option. At that time, it was still Ponga's role, going back 3 months or whatever. And they were showing, while they were interviewing Slater, they were showing footage of Reece Walsh scoring a try and doing something silly.
Mm-hmm.
And while Billy Slater was talking and the footage is rolling, he said, "Yeah, I don't know too much about that kind of stuff there, but so Billy Slater's already been in his ear.
On that,
He could be the next Billy Slater."
yeah.
I still think Ponga's better than him, but anyway.
On that point, I suggest to you that he was picked even before the Origin team was picked.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was the first one picked.
While we're on Origin, I know we keep going back to it. There's an interesting point, George, from your dad.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. This is a good one.
I want to hear what you guys think about this, right?
He was like me, absolutely physically sick still. I just got over it yesterday or the day before. He goes, "I can't do this one. I'm very sick. New South Wales, rubbish. He was saying to me.
He came up with a great one, right? He said, or do you want to sell it, George?
No, go for it, Nicola.
Okay, so George's dad said, what about if when it comes to Origin, winner takes all, loser gets nothing? So you know the 30 grand match payments? The winner takes all, loser gets nothing. Hey, but mate, that's it.
Ari, he was like, "No, but money, no money, poof this, no money, poof this. You give money to me." He's going, you know what I mean? For watch this rubbish, you know what I mean? It was hilarious.
He's very passionate.
Passionate man.
Very passionate West Tigers supporter. Western Suburbs supporter.
So what I reckon, Ari? Winner takes all, 60
I
grand.
love it. Yeah, that's great.
Loser there's nothing. That's it.
I love the way he's
old school
thinking.
thing.
I love the way he's
I
thinking.
still
Old school
remember
thing.
going back to the 90s, some wonderful freezing cold Sunday afternoons, freezing cold Friday nights with you and your dad going out to Campbelltown.
Campbelltown, loved
When they had the
Campbelltown.
temporary seating erected behind. Remember that? What a great time.
Oh, I've got to tell you this story, Ari. He couldn't say Prince.
Yeah.
He was say Scott Brick. No, you say
Brick.
Prince, Dad. Prince. And I say Brick. No, Dad. Prince. And we're at Campbelltown Stadium. We're at the stand there. Okay. And he's doing good things. Scott doing what he does. A beautiful prick, beautiful prick. Everybody around just laughing at their heads off. Number one, prick. He drops the ball. He stands up. Prick, malaka! Scott prick. The whole stand just laughs
I miss those
their head
days.
off.
I miss those days.
Prick
Oh,
Malaka.
Scott prick. Poof! He's going like that. You know what I mean? It was so funny.
I miss those days.
Oh, it was so funny. It was so
So
funny.
just a quick one before we go and look at last weekend's rounds. Looking at the table, who do you have as a smoky?
Oh, good
The
one.
table is so tight, it's so congested. Who's a smoky to
Adi?
come home strong?
I reckon Smokey.
I reckon the Raiders.
You reckon the Raiders?
They're winning games by small margins. Funny, Costa, shout out to Costa, caught up with him last night, avid Raiders fan, and again gave me a really good point. He said, like last year we were losing games by small margins, now we're winning them by small margins.
Yeah. I'm getting impressed every week. Not last week, but weeks before that. But with the Warriors.
Yes,
Yeah,
you read my mind.
yeah,
I
yeah.
love the
You
Warriors.
read my
Great
mind.
point.
I really love
Great
them.
point.
They're just.
I
out of
think
this
Webster
world.
who?
Webster.
Jeez.
Well, we know who Webster is now.
Yeah, and I heard something today which I didn't see. apparently at half time against the Dragons, they were on top of the Dragons by heaps. Apparently, he was spraying the Warriors players. He was spraying them. He was disgusted with. They were flogging the Dragons, yet he was still spraying them.
No.
Yeah. He's a hard taskmaster. He's good.
That's what good coaches do.
Yeah,
That's what good coaches do.
they sure do.
No, I'm with Adi and Nicola. I think the
Warriors,
Webster Who and the Warriors.
I'd really love to see it. Like that club.
Looking good.
I'd like to see it. I'd like to see it. Let's go into our done and dusted. Let's look at the weekend that was
Sure.
post Origin. I think the Panthers were the only team who rested all their players. Did anyone else do it?
No,
I don't think so.
Most of them play.
So the game we were just talking about, it kicked off with the Warriors beating the Dragons 48 points to 18. It was such a tumultuous week for the Dragons.
Yeah.
Ben Hunt did play. You can't blame them for just being off.
Yeah,
it
was terrible watching it play. When they named Hunt, I was very surprised, to be honest. But from what I saw, Sean Johnson ran the show. His kicking game, he put in another top performance, and the guy is coming back to outstanding form. He's always been in form the whole year. He's actually up there in the Daily M's while Hunt was playing through the motions. Lesbian act, 4 tries.
Yeah.
That was pretty impressive.
He's found, the Warriors, there's all these kind of players who are, and they're just getting the best out of them.
The way I'm looking at the Warriors,
Lesbian act.
did they remind you a bit about the Cowboys last year? How they had this nice run in, and then they got to the final, they got to this stage, and they just continued somehow.
They just better coached.
I could see a little bit of the Warriors, Cowboys
That's
and the
a good
Warriors.
point,
It's been really good.
Can I just say, but the Cowboys actually have got better cattle. Like each individual player in each individual position.
Yeah.
I think they're far better anyway, individually.
Really?
As a team, Warriors are better. But I think so. Well, who's an Anai? Who's an Anai here? You know what I mean? Who's Drinky?
Their fullback. Who's their fullback now?
Yeah, what's his name from Canberra? But he's no Drinky.
Yeah, but he's pretty
You see what
good.
Drinky done?
He was good.
Chance.
Chance Nickel Klotstack.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was good, mate. Warriors were outstanding. Dragons, as expected. No one saw them winning after that week.
It was a horrible week for the Dragons.
Horrible.
Okay. Look, Adi said it all. Sorry, Adi. Dragons were pretty woeful.
Wooden spoon.
I don't know about wooden spoon, but they were pretty woeful. Adi mentioned lesbian. The lesbians just
For those of you who
getting
don't know what
better.
we're talking about Dylan with
Tells me lesbian, yeah.
where's I can't.
Yeah,
Welesniak.
Yes,
lesbian.
lesbian act.
Okay.
Right?
Lesbian act.
So outstanding, but where the damage gets done, it's in the middle with Fanua Blake and Ford and people. You know, these are the people that get the damage done. Now, let me talk about the coaching. Okay, do you remember what I said about Penrith last year? The only team that does a certain thing, and the last time I saw that was Parramatta back in the 80s. They can set up, then go shot on you. Yeah?
Yep.
Well, Penrith don't do that this year. They haven't got the ability to do it this year. They've got to change their structure.
The roster change,
They've got to change their systems. Okay, guess what? The first time I saw Warriors do last week, set up, shot. Okay, this comes to prove to me and to all of us that their play and their coaching is outstanding. I'm going to say that as well.
Yeah.
Their attack has is going into a very mature elite level. Okay, because to do that, well, no other team does it, including South Sydney. They can't They can't shoot on you 3 times in a set. You know what I mean? Even with all those superstars
South
that they've
Sydney
got.
can't shoot a duck in a
At
swimming
the
pool.
moment, they can't do much. So I'd like to give credit to Phil Gould with his keen eye, on coaches.
I was waiting on that.
His keen
Poor
eye.
Serraldo.
Well, no, his keen eye. His keen eye and his talent recruitment and his eye for talent. I'd like to commend
George, how many
Phil
times
Gould.
have I told you you'll only succeed when he leaves?
I'm hoping.
Every club he's been at succeeds after he leaves.
Then leave now.
Don't forget, he was at the
Leave
Warriors.
now.
He was at the Warriors for a short time. Now look at him.
Beautiful.
Right?
Then go. Thank you.
Assistant coaches out of 3, and he picked
And he got the wrong
the
one.
2 wrong ones. Barrett, then Serraldo.
Jeez.
And you know the funny thing is, okay, Westler, who was the attack coach, our bloke was the defence coach. How are we going? We're losing 40 every week.
Can I ask you a question?
How are we going?
At Penrith, as an assistant, was Barrett the defence or the attack coach?
He was sort of bit of both. So Webster, who took all attack,
Yeah.
our one, Serrato, or Mr. Popular, took just defence, okay, and Barrett sort of bounced between two, done attack and defence.
Because Barrett's at Parramatta now.
Yeah.
We've got the best attack in the
Of course
club.
Of course he does. He got it wrong there again. He just gave him the attack.
Some people are just meant to be assistants, maybe. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Maybe.
Speaking of Para 48-20 over the Dolphins, I was really happy with the first half. Pretty pissed off with the second half, but hey, the win's a win.
Yeah.
They had a bit of a field day out there.
Yeah.
Buddy.
Mate, half time 42-4. That's
Yeah.
outstanding.
Yeah,
You can't
it's a
get better
club
than that.
record actually.
It's
for
brilliant.
them.
Yeah. Mitchell Moses, 8 out of 8. He was in everything. He was fantastic, especially backing up from an Origin game. That was
Yeah.
good. But my main, I reckon, the best signing of the season, Jermaine Hopgood, has been absolutely amazing.
He's, it's funny when we signed him, and I was pretty pissed off at the time because we were losing players left and right who were signing with other clubs. And again, Costa is telling me, you guys got Jermaine Hopgood, and I said, I've never heard of her. He said, no, he's really good. I'll go, yeah, right. And I'm like, wow, okay, he's really good. He's really, really good.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
He's doing. He's our Papali. He's Papali can stay where he is. We don't need him. This guy's taken over.
Can I tell you, I'm going to put something out there, right? Back to Origin.
Papali'i.
I want to see Hopgood in the Origin jersey in about 2 or 3 years.
Well,
He's
well-
got Origin on him, man. You can see
No,
those
but
days.
Billy
year.
Slater
Next year.
mentioned him as a chance this year.
To play Queensland?
Yeah.
Oh, is he a Queensland?
Queenslander.
Oh, you're
The Queenslander.
joking.
Yeah.
The Queenslander.
Yeah.
So his hands.
Oh,
The
Is he?
Queenslanders. Yeah, the
Oh,
Queenslanders.
when I
yeah.
thought we had
Fantastic
some hope.
news, actually. I don't mean this in a bad way. Josh Hodgson had neck surgery. So he's out for a few weeks. So Hands will be running the dummy half role for. And it's funny. Hodgson, he signed a 2-year deal, 1 year, and
Yeah.
the second year was an option in his favour. He took that up last week.
Yeah.
Good.
Did you ever think he wasn't?
Of course he would.
The guy's struggling. But yeah.
It's good to know the hooking roll's in good hands at the moment.
Yes, nice one, Artie. I like that.
If I can add to what Artie said, he's on fire today. He's got it all right. Panasini is a special human being.
He's a good player. Yeah.
He's just coming to not his best, but he's coming to enter his time of potential. He's just going to get better. And to the coaching of the Parramatta Eels, I think all questions about Arthur coaching ability can be put aside. How he's brought up these fringe first graders to fully graded first graders and top 4 possibly is outstanding.
When we're talking about a team who was in the grand final last year.
Absolutely, and, lost their complete back row.
When I'll put all that stuff aside, when there's a medal hanging around their neck.
I know you want to think. In terms of the Dolphins, Nicola, the fairy tale's over. Unfortunately, it came a bit later than we all thought.
It was always going to catch up.
It's always going to catch up. But look, I'm not going to say they're not going to win. They're not going to jag a game here or there. They have got super coach and they've got some good youngsters. But unfortunately, the fairy tale.
What is it? 8 games left?
More, isn't it?
Round 18 this week.
Okay, then there is 8
Is it
games left,
26 rounds?
Yes. 27.
I would suggest to you that if the Dolphins lost every game, I'd still say they had a successful year.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No.
Yeah.
What they've done is beyond expectations. But and they're going to win more games.
I also want to call out that Dejan Arce that Parramatta got from the Cowboys.
How good is
He's
he?
been phenomenal.
How good is he for a young man?
He's been phenomenal.
to do what he's done.
Dylan who?
Yeah. Well,
When he comes back,
not Dylan.
when he
Who,
comes back, they've got to find a spot for this kid. I don't know where.
okay, we go back to the Dodgers.
Lucky Jacob Arthur left because he would have been back.
He wouldn't have got a job.
He wouldn't have got a run.
He wouldn't
You
have got.
see my point?
He would have got a.
By the way, you
mention.
know who the next hooker is behind Brendan Hands? It's Brad Arthur's the youngest son.
He's a gun butt.
I'm not joking.
He's a gun butt.
There's
there
another
you go.
one. There's another one.
He's
He's a hooker.
Apparently, he's a gun.
Yeah, so was Jake. Anyway, moving along. Panthers 20 points to 12 over Newcastle. Panthers missing all their Origin stars, 5 or 6 of them. Pretty disappointing from the Knights, isn't it?
Mate, that was an amazing
I
result.
mean, Penrith, but Did you see that? Sorry, did you see that Christian Welch, Craig Bellamy?
I was just about to mention that. Okay,
Top
everyone's
class.
surprised about that. Even
Yeah.
Christian Welsh and Bellamy, they mentioned in the press.
The hot mic.
Yeah, it was the hot mic. Did you see it?
Yeah, I heard it.
Yeah, it was funny because Welsh goes.
That was funny.
Welsh whispers over to Bennett. He goes, "The Knights lost to the Panthers.
How'd they lose that? They had all their players
How'd
out.
they lose that? They had all their players out. They were shocked." But yeah, Penrith are just Penrith. They had the Dylan, the Fish, and Leota as their star-studded players there that were
Dylan
remaining.
Edwards is such a special
And
player.
they just steered the ship and played well. And, unfortunately, the Knights couldn't get the job, but good to see Control Freak scored a try at least, which was good. But, yeah, Penrith are just getting back, mate. They're just...
And a great move from Ivan Cleary to rest his players and get the 2 points
fantastic.
as well. Yeah.
And lucky for him, Broncos lost as well, so that worked out even better. That was a bonus.
The real winner here, or the real man of the match for me, is Ivan Cleary, Nicola. How he can develop a system, run it through the whole club, from the mats all the way through the first grade, bring average first grade players in, them playing that system. A 90% completion rate. If you go back and look, it was a 90% completion rate, and asking, not rolling over, telling the Knights, "You can beat us,
Yeah.
beat us, go and beat us." Outstanding. We mentioned, I already mentioned everybody, Dylan Edwards, and all the normal cohort, but the system won, not Penrith Panthers won, and not only that. I mentioned to you a couple of weeks ago when I saw him live against the Roosters.
Yeah.
He's made adjustments to the system to suit the team now. At the start of the year, he played last year's system, and when he worked out that they didn't have that type of artillery or those players in those positions, he's adjusted with some really, when I saw him live, some really odd shapes, but it blew me away. He's nailed it again. He works to his strengths. He works to what he's got on the field. And can I say, I saw this game, even on the night, he's adjusted even how, because Nathan's not there, he adjusted subtly to suit Cogger. The guy is an outstanding rugby league coach. We knew that. And there's a chance he's going to get a three-peat. There's a chance he'll get a three-peat. Yeah. But that's what impressed me more. On the other side, what can I say? That's the next coach is going to go.
He's on the chopping block, eh?
He's going to go. He's got to go because I saw nothing. I saw nothing. They were paper thin, and you guys told me that the Ponga's an outstanding rugby league player. He doesn't inject. He doesn't go looking for the ball. When he actually does, you can see people around him start lifting, and you see the line adjusting. He doesn't inject. He doesn't want to be there. When the ball goes left, he goes right, not looking for it. If you don't believe me, look at the replay. There's some players.
What if he's trying to throw the opposition off?
He's not trying to throw anyone off. He's
because they're expecting him to get it, but he's going there. He's playing the decoy.
Then sack the coach now, because your biggest attacking weapon, you're making him go, because you haven't got another Ponga to go left. So the ball goes right to kick out, and he can split the line. Everything should be revolving around the Ponga, the sweeps, the lead runners, going through the middle. Everything should revolve around the control freak and Ponga. And guess what? The Saifidi boys, okay. If they don't want to play, tell them to go back to Reggie's, because you know what? They're just people standing in the middle of the field doing nothing, picking up $600,000, $700,000. Okay, the coach has got to go. The coach
when you look at the cattle they have, it's maybe comparable to the Warriors. And look at the difference in coaching. One coach is getting the absolute best out of all his players, and Adam O'Brien's been there for a few years now.
4 now.
Yeah,
4. I think. Look, I you know what? I want to blame each individual rugby league player and even Ponga, and I'm hard on him, but it can't be Ponga. because I've seen him rip teams apart. Okay, he went up to Brisbane and he wanted to prove a point, and guess what? He proved the point. So it's got to be the coaching, Nicola. It's got to be the coaching.
See who's linked with the role?
Who?
You didn't read it?
No.
Mary McGregor.
Really?
Mary fucking McGregor.
That's not the
That's
answer.
going to be interesting.
Why?
Oh no! Well, his name's been linked to the Knights job if he leaves.
There's an assistant coach in Canberra who will love to have the job, who'll scare the fuck out of him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who'll make him run up sand hills all day, and he's going to have actual cattle, not like West had no cattle. I don't know.
It's going to be interesting, mate,
I'm-
if he gets it.
I forget the name of the show, but I'm laughing at that British show. There's two guys walk up to a hotel counter wearing the knight's armour,
Yeah.
and the guy walks up and he goes, "A room for 2 nights, please." Storm 24-6 over the Seagulls.
No Munster, no matter. Storm, they just played really well. Look, Seagulls were in it, 10-6 at half time. It wasn't too far, and then the big Nelson showed a bit of toe and scored a nice try into the post. But to me, it was a bludger of a game at the end of the day. You know what? A lot of the fantastic games of the year involve Brisbane. A lot of the bludgers involve Manly or Melbourne, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
They're not very exciting to watch, are they?
No, they're not. Take Peasant out of this game. He's outstanding rugby.
was great.
And they say we haven't got rugby league halfbacks. Guess what? Cogger looks a bit better than he really is because he's in an outstanding system. But Peasant definitely is one for the future. Manly were terrible. I don't care what anyone says. But Storm's going to get touched up by the Panthers. You'll see this week. I'll get touched up by Panthers. There's nothing there.
Yeah.
Broncos went down 18-12 to the Gold Coast. Did you see
Interesting.
the incident at the end of the game where David Fafita went flying?
Flying.
Brisbane scored
Yeah.
and the try was pulled back,
Oh, yes.
potentially make it 18-all,
Yeah.
because one of the runners who was 20 metres away
Oh.
from the ball bumped into Fafita, who normally steamrolls 3 or 4 players at a time, and he went flying.
Yeah, I got you.
But
I
hey,
saw
it worked.
Yeah, it worked. Yep, I saw that.
It worked.
I saw that.
Are the Broncos going to fall off the cliff here? This happened last season.
Yeah.
I don't want to put the mocker on them, but this is what happened last season. Now, I don't see it happening again, but what do you guys think?
Wait a minute. How do you go?
You know what's funny about that? Big Turner was rested. Before that game, they rested Turner. So they had a couple of good big guns out too, the Titans, which made it even more surprising. And the trend continues. When you sack a coach, you win your first game. Because
right?
Saints did it.
Yeah,
now
no,
Titans,
that's look over the however many years.
yeah, exactly. But this hangover thing, look, it's the first game after an Origin, so I'm not going to go there yet because I know that the guys were feeling it.
Yeah.
I hope it doesn't get that
I
way.
think they're a
really
better
hope
team
it
than what they
doesn't.
were last
They are
year.
a better team,
Yes.
but I
Yeah.
really hope it doesn't get there like last year.
The only
Psychologically, that could be disastrous.
The only problem is the coaching. So you've got Walsh out for 3 weeks. You got Colbo out for 4 or 5 weeks. You got Riccio out for 6 weeks. You got their front row Flegler out
Yes,
for
I
6
forgot about
or
that,
7 weeks. So you're missing about 4 or 5 starters. Okay, and
You guys have got them next week, George. This could be the time.
great, great. They're back on the track. Then we'll play them into form. We'll play them into form.
Not this week. Next week.
Yeah, well, I don't know who they're playing this week. Or if they lose this week again, okay, and their coach can't mentally get them to forget what happened last year and move forward. They're young men, and Reynolds isn't that type of player. He can be the general on field, but I got this funny feeling he was at South. He was never the one in the dressing rooms. Well, let's watch his space. Yeah, I don't think it will happen, but let's watch his space.
Yeah.
I didn't see this one coming, but the Cowboys 31-6 over the Rabbitohs. That's
yeah.
South, after winning 5-6 in a row. I think they've lost 5 out of their last 6 or something like that.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, halftime was 5-0, which is an odd
5-0?
5-0 at halftime. Cowboys up. And Cows had 60% possession. So a lot of defence by South. They really did a lot of
60%?
defence. 60% Cowboys.
Katie Walker seemed to have gone off the board a little bit.
So I honestly thought that the Cowboys just wore them out. They just wore them out, and then they just went over them at the end. South just couldn't cope anymore. They just
You know, it's interesting.
First.
Like last year, Mitchell missed the start of the season.
Mm.
When he came back, South came back.
Yeah.
Is that what's happening again?
That's all
Maybe.
That's all
Does one
happening
player
again.
have that much influence over?
He does.
Yeah.
He's
He
that
does.
good. He's that good.
He is. But another thing, though, the Cowboys players are starting to come back, though.
Yeah.
Drinky's looking really good. Dearden's coming back. The forwards are coming back. Look, they're back.
6
they're
points.
back to
6
last
points. The fact that South could only score once.
year. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Nico, I don't know what happened early in the year. I have no idea what happened early in the year with the Cowboys. They've got players back. They didn't even have Jason Tamiloro.
Yeah,
They didn't have
he's
him.
out.
He's coming back soon, I guess.
Mm.
Again, all of a sudden, something clicked, and I think they're back at their best. Drinky, as Adi said, amazing. He was the man of the match by far. Dearden, he's origin in waiting. He's origin in waiting. If
He's played Origin. He's back up.
well, if Cherry Evans doesn't play next year, there's no issue here.
Exactly, yeah.
No
Got him
issue
ready.
whatsoever.
They gave him his run last year to prepare him.
Well, no whatsoever. So Cowboys are back. They're running well, and off they go. And I can see the Egyptian lighting up his smoke pipes there, smoking because he knows that they're back, and he's loosening up his shoes for the walk for victory again at the end of the year. Now the Rabbits, there is alarm bells ringing at Redfern. There's no doubt about it. And why? Because Cody looks like a shadow of himself. Okay, the centre who
A month
got
ago,
dropped,
he was the form half in the competition.
the centre who got dropped from Origin.
Campbell Graham?
Campbell Graham's got no confidence whatsoever, and I don't think wants to touch the ball. He looks like he's running away from the ball. The forwards, they're not going forward, Nicola. But the big problem is this: I said they're going to win the comp. To win a comp, and I can't remember the last time a team's won a comp without a dominant halfback. I don't know what's happened to the Greek immortal, the future Greek immortal, Ilias, but he's not getting any better. If it was any other coach, he'll be in Reggie's at the moment. He was that bad. I think when Latrell comes back, everything will change. I really believe it.
That's what happened last season.
Yeah, and that's what I'm hoping. I'm sure that's what Dimitri is hoping is going to happen. But if
Not
the
a
Greek,
good approach to coaching a team. Single point of failure.
I don't know, but if the Greek immortal doesn't pick his game up, there'll be no medals around their neck. There'll be no rings on their fingers. You know what? Katie can switch it on like that. Okay, most of the team can switch it on.
But do you remember what happened last season?
Can't
Do you remember what happened
Ilias can't switch it on.
Do you remember what happened in the first half of last season? Cody was having one of his worst seasons
That's
ever
right. That's right.
until Latrell came back.
Yeah.
Then
Latrell
he
will change everything. I'll tell you
Completely
now.
changed as a player. Like they complement each other so well. I think Cody really needs Latrell there to
Cody
get the
needs
best out
Latrell.
of himself.
You know what? He's a confident thing. You know, imagine looking at the back and there's Latrell.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you know, I'll feel more confident having Latrell in the team, and I don't even know the guy. And I don't. You know, we don't even like him really. You know what I mean? But one thing I do know, he's the most damaging ball runner and the most influential player on this team. You know what I mean? So that's that.
Another one. The Roosters went down again. 20 points to 18 against the Raiders. Roosters were at home.
Mate.
What's going on? Take nothing away from the Raiders.
No.
But what's going on?
18-0 at half time. Raiders, they were up there.
They did the same thing a few weeks back. Didn't the Raiders.
But
they're hanging on though. They're hanging on this year.
They defend well. Scary for the Roosters. They lost Crichton, Egan, Butcher, and Turpin, so their injury toll is horrific. They're getting more and more each week. Fogarty had a brilliant game. He was terrorising. He was terrorising Tedesco with the bombs. Tedesco again, not one of his best games.
He's been struggling under the bombs the last this season.
But what can I say, mate? Raiders keep winning those games, those tight ones. So
That's what we were saying before.
Yeah.
Like, last couple of seasons they were losing tight games. Now they're winning them. So
yeah.
it looks like Sticky's got them over that line.
Yeah, and is that Xavier Savage guy? Is he? He hasn't even been playing much. So
He's been in Reggie's, hasn't he? He's
Exactly,
been in
so-
Cup. Yeah.
I'll be sniffing around that guy. I reckon he's a really good.
He's a good
player.
player.
Yeah, I
Fantastic
think so.
player.
But he had so much time out of the game that they've found someone else.
Nicola, Roosters to me look like they need a break, mate.
Yeah.
I think they look tired. They look slow in
Well,
the
that's
middle.
scary at this
Too
point
many
of the
injuries.
season.
Maybe the injuries as well, but they just look like.
But every
they
club's
need a
had them. I
break.
mean, the
Yeah,
Bulldogs
man.
had their Para's had
Yeah,
4 or 5 players missing.
They just look tired. They look tired. Look,
I think we just expect more from the Roosters.
of
Yeah,
course we do.
yeah.
Of course we do.
Because
Look,
even when you have injured players out, so I'll go back to my team, right? We've had a few injuries, whatever. But the guys who have been there, Moses, even without Dylan Brown, Gutho, Paulo, like the key guys have stepped up.
yeah.
But I don't see that happening at the Roosters
well, they do when
or South at the moment.
they do when they put a maroon jersey on. But beside that, they look tired. The year is written off. I'm going to call it now. I know you
Yeah.
guys are going to say.
Yeah.
maybe
I
not.
think it's
Yeah.
I'm going to call it.
They
now.
were my favourites to win the comp before the season
Yeah,
started.
me too.
I think Teddy and the boys just need a break
Some time off.
because they played NRL, then they played World Cup, then they had a couple of weeks off, and they went straight into January training, and they're playing. They just need some time off. Okay,
Yeah, I
I
think
don't
so.
worry about if they're going to have 1 year substandard. So be
Yeah.
it.
Well, they did it a few years back.
They
They won
did.
the spoon. They came back and won the comp.
They did.
Yeah, they did.
Canberra. Artie mentioned Fogarty. You know what? When he believes in himself and he kicks and he marshals that team, he's outstanding. And there's times he comes out which he's lost. He freaks me out. This kid. He frustrates me because I'm a big fan of Fogarty, and when he's on, he's on. Okay. And look, they play a very simple game. They play a middle central game, a power game. It's a perfect game. Back into the year, they've got to fix up their second halves. It's been too many times, not only this year, many years, that they get beaten the last minute. I mean, at this stage they were 18 up and they won by 20 to 18.
Yeah.
They've got to fix their second
Same
half.
thing happened against the Tigers. That's the game I was referring to.
Right.
A few weeks back. I think it was the same score.
Yes, I think
They were
it was,
18 up. Tigers made it 18 all. Raiders got a penalty to win the game.
That's right. So they've got to fix that up.
Yeah.
Beside that, look, at this time of the year, they got the 2 points. That's the main thing.
What was the best game of the round?
Um,
I've got to be honest with you guys. I don't have one for this week.
Yeah, they're all bludgers.
They're all bludgers.
I didn't mind the Titans and Broncos. I thought that was tight. I thought it was like Titans when
Yeah.
they play good, and then the other team's chasing them.
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting to watch. So
Yeah,
if I had to pick one, I'd pick that.
because the scores were close and Titans were on.
Yeah.
And it looked like Brisbane were on, but they're a little bit off. So
Yeah.
look, I agree, but I'm
Yeah.
with Nicola. Most of them were
a bit flat. Yeah.
flat.
Well, what was your bludger of the round?
All horror.
I've got
fucking
8.
the whole round.
I've got a bludger player.
Ooh,
Please tell.
Well, he's from my team. He didn't want to be there on Friday night.
Ben Hunt.
Why did he play? He ruined the Origin series by announcing stupid things and killed it off. So
Yeah.
to me,
Yeah, it's a good point.
he's the bludger, mate.
Yeah.
He shouldn't have been there.
What stood out for you guys this round?
The different standard of rugby league when Origin hits. When Origin hits, there's three different times of the year: pre-Origin, then that Origin period, then the run into home, and this Origin period, it gets ugly. It really gets ugly. It's laborious. It gets hard to watch. Games hard to watch. Substandard games. I don't like it. I know we got to have it, but it really affects the comp. It really affects the comp.
So what stood out for
That
you? Okay, cool.
that stood out.
Artie?
Mine was Jermaine Hopgood. I reckon.
Jermaine
he's gonna
Hopgood?
be- but yeah, he was fantastic. I just liked the way he played.
I'm going to flip this on its head,
Mm.
and I can, because we can do whatever we want.
Mm-hmm.
But we didn't have a show last week.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going with Alex Twal scoring his first
Oh,
try 2
good
weeks
call.
ago.
Yes, that's a good one.
That was a wonderful moment. Whether you're a Tigers fan or not, and I'm not, it was the way all the players on the field reacted, the crowd, the way the media reacted, the smile on the kid's face.
Nick,
It was awesome. It really was.
Nick, they're still having panigiri or
Yeah.
parades through Balmain at the moment
Good on
as
him.
we speak.
Good on
a
him.
week after.
Good
so,
on him. Talk
yeah.
about getting a pressure release.
Yeah,
Good on him. Who gets the John Creese spray this week?
that's easy. Reese.
Reese, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing.
That's
Reese Walsh. Yeah, pull your head in, kid. Manoli's player of the round.
Good question.
My favourite, I reckon the Manoli's player of the round is our favourite player with the nickname of Lesbian Act.
Yeah,
Was it bagging 4 tries? I thought he was fantastic, and he's having a cracker of a season.
he
so,
really is. That try he scored at Canberra when I was down there. My God.
Yeah.
When we saw it live, I know it's not this round. When we saw that try live, no, there's no way. No way.
Yeah.
Then we watched the replay. Man, he got it.
Yeah. The only concern I have about this, I'm really concerned about this, is I'm going to ring up Manoli. I'm going to say, look, I'm going to send over Lesbian Act to have. He's going to freak out. Yeah. But I'm going to say, no, it's actually a player. He's going to freak
George,
right out.
does he
won't
like
freak out.
Dimitra
will
surely
freak out.
is. She's going to be spewing.
George, will he go the Parmesan?
Of course, will he go Palmer? Of course he
Of
does.
course he
Of
will,
course, he'll
yeah.
eat anything. But
Oh,
my guy, he's lactose intolerant. I thought.
Oh, again.
Yeah. No, so I
Jeez.
think I get him. And he's in Sydney at the moment. Drinky.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
loves the Euro. He actually messaged me before the game, and he said because he's a he's a tight ass.
Okay, no.
He
I
hates
didn't know
spending
that.
his money. Apparently, he's still got his lunch money from year 10. You know what I mean? And he goes, I want to go to see Manoli, but I'm not going to pay $5 for a Euro. So he put that performance on just to get the Euro.
Yeah.
And as he said, for the no Parmesan. He goes, tell
wow.
Manoli and Dimitra, I don't want the Parmesan, so drinky.
It's his loss.
I'm going to go Fogarty for me.
Yeah,
Fogarty?
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Outstanding.
Ardy, you got some spam mail for us?
Spam. Oh, yeah, I do actually. Okay. I got some. I went through looking at it. This is over a couple of weeks now. Reese from Brisbane. He wants to know why Ben Hunt caused such a circus last week. He said, even during the Broncos game against the Titans, he wanted to ask the referee, and he's now serving 3 weeks. He said, all I said is, what's happening to Hunt? And now he's serving 3 weeks. So, Reese, mate, just own up to it, mate. Own it.
He was concerned about his
He
mate.
asked about Hunt. He
Yeah,
asked about Hunt.
same team now,
Far
Origin
out.
team, buddy.
Exactly.
Concerned.
He thought the referee might have known. I don't know.
He thought maybe occasionally he was.
Well, there's talk of him
on
going to
Friday
Brisbane, so
night
he just
there.
wanted to know.
He just wanted to know.
Yeah, I feel for him. I feel for Reese.
Desi from Coolangatta. He wants to know. He's looking forward to coaching. He's looking forward to. No, he's looking forward to coaching the young Titans team, full of great up and coming juniors, especially with a halves combination of Foreign and Hunt, 35 and 34-year-old, and he's trying to get Aaron Woods and Tolman to come back. So that's Desi. He wants to know if they're available. Aaron Woods and Tolman.
Maybe.
When Aaron Woods had long hair, they were calling him Sharon Woods.
There you go. Benji from Leichhardt, he sent me some mail. Said, good to see the club putting their faith in me as coach and giving me the players I need. Can't wait to get my hands on Brooksy for next year. He'll guide us through. Mate, it's not happening, Benji.
Been a lot of spam this week.
A lot of spam.
A lot of spam.
And Justin from Coolangatta just bumped into Anthony Griffin the other day. It's funny who you bump into at Centrelink. Looking forward to seeing Anthony from Newcastle next week. So,
Give him your Netflix pass.
no, I should.
Give him your
But
Netflix pass.
they're looking forward to bumping into Anthony soon from Newcastle.
Adam.
Oh, Adam, is it? Adam.
yeah.
Oh, okay, Adam.
Adam.
Give him
Oh,
your
there you go.
Netflix pass this time.
There you go. So, yeah, we had a bit of spam, mate, this week.
Ask Ardy, have you got something for us?
Yeah, man. You know what I want to do? I just wanted to give you my power rankings, and tell me if you agree with my power ranking.
Yeah.
So for the top 4, I've got Panthers at number 1, Storm at 2, Broncos at 3, and Warriors at 4.
Hard to argue.
Would you
Hard to
drop or
argue.
chop any of those? No.
It's hard. Storm, I'm a little bit because they're always there, but they've also been weakened this year. But I'm comfortable with
Comfortable with
it.
that?
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
Would you
Fifth.
would you have sorry? Would you have Storm?
I've got Panthers first, the Storm second, and then I've got the Broncos third with the Warriors.
I would love to see the Warriors in the top 4.
Yeah, I've got them. Yeah, I
That'd
think
be
they're
such a great
the
fairy tale.
I'd flip the Broncos and the Storm.
Would you bring? Okay, sure. Fifth spot, I got the Eels with their resurgence. I think they've been pretty good.
Yeah.
I got the Raiders up at sixth,
Yeah.
Cowboys at seventh, because I think they're on the up big time.
Yeah.
And to finish it off, I've got the Rabbitohs. And now you're probably going to say, why'd you leave out the Sharks, who are currently fourth?
No, I agree.
They haven't beaten a top 8 side yet.
No,
and they've had 3 buys.
No, I was about to say, like, it's interesting because I agree with everything you're saying.
Mm.
And we're talking about the Roosters, the Sharks, possibly the Rabbitohs not being in there, top 8.
Yeah, well, I got Rabbitohs at 8th.
Yeah, no, I know.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
it's
it's true.
But it's on a knife's edge.
It is, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Mm.
George, thoughts?
Yeah, no, I can't disagree with.
You agree?
I can't disagree with that at all.
Awesome.
Actually, I thought the Bunnies would have been higher at this time of the year, but there you go.
Yeah, they're just falling a little bit. But look, it's only at this stage from round 17. I'll also give you guys a Dalium update. So at the moment, we've still got Payne Haas on 33.
Really?
This is a prediction for round 17 based on the results. So we've got Payne Haas on 33, Sean Johnson on 30, which is fair. I reckon the 2 best players, to be honest.
Yeah.
And third, we've got Reece Walsh on 28, equal with Nico Hines.
Hard to argue.
Yeah. Cleary's on 27, Harry Grant 27, Cody Walker on 25 with Mitchell Moses, and to round it off, Ben Hunt on 24 points.
Isn't that amazing?
That's the daily
Yeah, it's interesting you say the Sharks haven't beaten a top 8 team.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
No, and they won't.
The other thing I wanted to give you an update on is top try scorers.
Yeah.
Yeah, at this stage. We've got Dominic Young leading, 16 tries with 14 games. Did you know that?
For Newcastle?
Yeah,
No, I
that's
didn't.
Dominic Young.
No, I didn't know that.
I didn't know that at
But
all.
this is going to impress
Wait a
you.
second. Isn't Mike Acevo the leading try scorer?
No, Dominic Young. Mike Acevo is second. Oh, sorry. They're equal. Sorry. Mick Acevo's 16 as
Okay.
well. Sorry, I didn't look at my print right. So you got
No,
Dominic
Artie,
Young
you're
and
killing me here, man.
Mick Acevo and,
Okay.
and Dominic Young are equals first with
Okay,
16
yeah.
tries. Guess who's third?
Hmm.
Clint Gutherson on 15. So
Right.
out of the top 3 try scorers, there are Eels.
He's had a couple of hat tricks the past few weeks.
There you go.
Yeah.
So Gutho's
He's had a
up
couple
to
of hat
third.
tricks.
Yeah. And then fourth and fifth, or actually equal fourth, we've got Jermaine Isako, Fidel, which is the hammer,
Yeah.
Pereira and Graham, Campbell Graham. 2 Dolphins players in the
Yeah.
top 10, which is pretty impressive. And to round it out is Ronaldo Militano from the Sharks on 13 tries. So,
Interesting.
yeah, so from first to eighth, there's only 3 tries in it, 16,
Yeah.
13.
Just like the ladder.
Yeah, so it's very tight up the top in there, in that as well. But I wanted to do one other thing with you guys, if you just don't mind. We're going to solve the New South Wales coaching issue.
Is this a who would you rather?
Fantastic.
It's a who would you rather, but we're going to try and
Hit
solve
us.
the issue.
Hit
all
us
right?
up. Let's fix it. Let's fix the problem right now.
Fix the problem right now.
You
and then
don't need a director. We'll take care
we're
of
going
it.
to take care of it, right?
Yeah.
So first one, I looked at ex-NRL coaches at the moment
Yeah.
and putting them in there, right? So who would you rather? Would you rather Maguire or Holbrook?
Maguire.
Maguire?
Macca, yeah, Maguire.
Macca's there?
He loses his shit, and that's what we need: passion and emotion.
All right.
Holbrook,
Holbrook
he
and
doesn't get worked up.
Fair enough. I found another couple of ex-NRL coaches that were head coaches. John Morris or Mary McGregor?
Pass.
They both.
If you had to pick one,
Yeah. You know what?
John Morris.
McGregor's there now.
McGregor's.
Yeah, it's like get rid of it, cut the cancer right out.
You know what? I'm going to go left field. I'm going to go John Morris.
Yeah.
I thought he was
Because
pretty good.
in his one crack, he got a team to the semis, and we haven't seen him have another crack yet.
Exactly.
I'm
and he's
curious.
at South. I reckon he'd be up there,
I'm
man.
curious.
Yeah, okay. So we've got John Morris. Now, I'm going to go to some rookies now. Imagine we put a rookie in there. So we've got Dean Young or Ben Hornby. Who would you pick out of them two? As a
Dean Young,
possible
to me,
NRL coach.
without knowing too much about either one's coaching career, Dean Young seems to be the one with more experience. Am I right?
Dean Young?
Am I right or wrong?
I've heard
I think-
massive raps on.
I think Hornby's got
Yeah.
more raps. Hornby's
Okay.
been coached. He worked under Bennett as well when he was at South.
I've heard. I've heard.
Whereas Young's only been under Peyton.
Can I throw another spanner into the works?
Yeah.
Not that this would ever happen.
Yeah.
But what if New South Wales, we all know it's not going to be a current NRL coach, right?
Yeah.
What if it was an assistant?
Well, I'm getting
What
there.
if it was a Jim Dimmick or a...
I'm getting there.
Okay, sorry.
You're going to hear the next one, mate.
Okay.
This is going to be the... So which one out of those two?
Sorry, which two?
Dean
I'll
Young
go
or-
Dean Young. I'll go Dean
No,
Young.
no, I'm going to go
Hornby?
the
Hornby?
South Sydney.
All right,
the South
okay. So
Sydney
you
assistant.
both went separate. Okay. Now, we all saw what a good job Billy Slater's done at Queensland, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, what about Jason Riles or Josh Hannay? Now, Jason Riles is under the Melbourne system. What about him as a New South Wales possible coach, Origin coach?
Josh Hannay's been coaching for
And
assistant for a while
And Josh
too.
Hannay's been pretty good as
Yeah.
well as New South Wales as a coach.
I would... Wait a second. Didn't Josh Hannay play for Queensland?
It's Queenslander. Is he actually?
Yeah, but he's been at Cronulla for a while. He finished off at Cronulla and he was
Sorry,
with Flanagan.
Jason Riles. If we're gonna beat,
Yeah,
we're gonna beat Queensland, we're gonna do what they do.
Actually, I think Hannah's in the
better-
coaching staff now in Queensland. I think so.
Oh,
If
okay.
we're
There you
gonna
go. Maybe
beat-
take him off Billy. There you go.
Hey,
That's smart.
If we're gonna beat Queensland, we're gonna show them the same respect they'd show us. And there's no way they
Zero.
would hire a New South Wales person
No
in
way.
their stuff.
No way.
I'm going Riles,
Okay.
Yeah, me, Jason.
Now I'm going to pick up two
and
media
he's played
guys.
there too.
Now I'm going to give you some ex-media
Don't
ex-NRL players.
say Buzz Rossfield because
No,
I'm waiting for him to face plant the desk every time I watch 360.
Nah, mate.
He looks like he's gonna have a heart attack.
I'm going to give you two ex-media guys who actually played for New South Wales. So the first one is Michael Ennis or Robbie Farah.
Michael Ennis.
You'd pick him ahead of Robbie Farah to be a coach?
Both together. Yeah, I'll pick Ennis.
I like Ennis. Yeah,
Yeah. There's talk about Ennis, you know.
I like Ennis.
What about Paul Gallen or Matty Johns?
Matty Johns.
Yeah.
I didn't think too much of him as a player, but seeing him and listening to him break games down, he's got the
Oh
smarts.
yeah, Matty
Okay.
He's
Jones.
really good.
Absolutely. Is.
And he's got the passion. Not that Gallen doesn't, but Gallen's, I don't know how footy. his footy IQ is.
no character.
Okay.
No, Matty.
Matty? All right. And finally, if we had to go for the guys that have already been there, done that, some old heads.
Ricky Stewart.
Oh, no.
Sorry, I jumped the
didn't
gun.
even have him in there.
Okay.
I was going to have Gus Gould or Brandy.
Gus Gould.
Gus Gould?
Gus Gould.
Can I
He's
pass.
Gus
Pass on
Gould.
both.
You know what? Love him or hate him, I don't think anyone understands Origin more than he does.
Yeah.
Yeah, but his time's
From
passed.
outside of the border.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But his time's
I
passed.
know. And there's no way he'd ever do it, but
But
I-
who wins?
And the last one, Ricky or Bellamy
Ricky.
for New South Wales.
for New South Wales.
Ricky.
Ricky or Bellamy?
Ricky.
Ricky, they've both been there, and Ricky had a better record. But
So how
Yeah.
we solve it?
So now I'm going to give you all our candidates, right? So all our candidates are Maguire, Morris, Hornby, Young, Riles, Ennis, Johns, Gould, or Ricky. Out of all those guys, who would you have picked to be the next?
I would have picked Ricky, but we know that can't happen.
No, apparently it could still happen.
I'll
Don't
go
write that off.
I'll go Matty Johns.
You'd go Matty Johns?
Yeah.
If you had to pick a New South Wales coach
Can
out
we-
of the cattle that we just said now.
Can we go Ricky with Matty?
Ricky with Matty?
like they are
Oh, yeah.
now.
Pick two assistants,
him
okay?
him
Ricky
his
and Matty?
Buddy, yeah.
Ricky and Matty Johns.
Yeah.
Or co-coaches Matty and Andrew Johns.
Oh fuck.
So are you happy with that, guys?
Yeah.
I would be. I'll be good.
Let me send it off to the New South Wales Rugby League board and
Yeah, no worries.
tell them how.
Sorry, Freddie, you weren't on the ballot.
Oh, this is assuming Freddie's been sacked.
Yeah, no.
We're still
I'll
waiting
cut
there.
this piece out and I'll send it to NRL.
Can you send it to NRL?
Oh, like we can. The Wonder Boy can.
Well, apparently this is a better criteria because at the moment all they do is put them all on the dartboard and just throw a dart and see who
I
gets it.
believe you. I believe you, Arnie. I believe you. That's the funny thing is I believe you.
All right, boys, let's
Oh,
move
God.
along because we're almost at the end now.
Sure.
Crystal ball predictions for this weekend's games. Sharks Dragons.
Okay. I'm going to put, in each of these games I've put the matchups, right?
Yeah.
For this one here, I'll put Hines versus Hunt, which I think will be interesting.
Yeah.
But in saying that, Sharks will flog us. So there you go.
George.
It's at the prison, Nicola. The Dragons are a bit down confident, and if Sharks, to Artie's point, if Sharks want to do anything in the competition, they should win by 50. If they don't, I'm with Artie. They won't make the 8.
I'm going Shark.
Yeah, they've won the last 5, so they're on a roll.
Warriors Rabbitohs. Warriors at home.
The battle I'm looking after is Tohu Harris versus Cam Murray. I think that's going to be a really good duel. In saying that, I'm going Warriors just on the form that they're in at the moment. Even though South will be hungry, I'm just tipping the Warriors over this one.
the stadium's been sold out for over a week now.
Oh, really?
Nicola? Yeah. Full house. They're sleeping in their beds. Souths are low in confidence. No Latrell still. Their halfbacks wavering. Warrior system will just roll over. By the end, they'll just wear them down and roll over themselves.
I'm going Warrior too.
Unfortunately.
Storm at home to Penrith.
This has got a bit of an origin feel. You've got Luai versus Munster and Coates versus Tar. So, interesting duel there. Panthers should steamroll the Storm, I think.
Think
rested.
Yeah, Nicola. I think Kristen Walsh.
All their players back.
Yeah, I think Walsh will regret what he said over the microphone, and I think Penrith will be coming home with a smile on their faces.
We're all agreeing here. I'm going Panther.
Panther, yeah.
Raiders Titans in Canberra.
You're going to laugh at me, guys, but this is the game I'm looking forward to.
Me
Because
too.
we've got Big Tino versus Tapane.
Oh, yeah.
They're my two favourite
Yeah.
forwards. I love those two.
Yeah.
And then you've got Hudson Young versus Fafita.
Yeah.
So you've got some good battles there. And in saying that, I like the Raiders because, I don't know, Hudson Young takes out Fafita, but then Big Tino takes out Tapane. No, I'm going to stick with the Raiders on that one. I think they should
Yeah,
get it.
I'm with Fadi. I think the fairy tale's over for the Titans. Reality's going to hit hard.
But Desi's been there, hasn't he? He's been hitting them already.
No, he's
not
coming
yet.
next year. I thought it was this year.
I thought he was already there.
Me too.
On the wraps.
No, I got. If it was Desi, I'll be picking him every week. You know how much I like Desi. No. I think Reality's going to hit hard.
We're all on a roll here. I'm going Raider as well.
Yeah.
Wow.
Cowboys at home to the Tigers.
Last time they played, the Tigers beat them 66.
That's what I was thinking.
18.
That wasn't too long ago.
How's this one, mate? Bateman versus Cotter. That's going to be a cracker. I'm going Cowboys, obviously, for that one.
Nicola redemption for the Cowboys. Steamy. It will be still a steamy Townsville and West will be sick and tired of counting points.
Cowboy for me too. Geez, we're agreeing on everything so far.
Yeah.
Broncos at home to the Dolphins.
The only matchup I could find was Payne Haas versus Bromwich. But I'm going the Broncos.
How
on that
about
one.
the pin-up boy?
Which one?
The back row, the pin-up boy, the elbow boy.
Kafusi.
Yeah,
Against Carrigan.
there you go.
Yeah, that'll be a good one. Yeah, I suppose that one we can look out for. But yeah, Broncos should win this, you'd think. If they don't, the wheels have then definitely fallen off, don't you reckon?
A few players missing.
Yeah, this is where Wayne Bennett's going to show his elite coaching. He's going to lift the team up, and I think Broncos will be shocked.
Really?
I think Broncos will be shocked. It's at the Gabba. It's on a neutral ground. It's at the Gabba. It's not in their favourite home ground.
Western Australia, is it?
No, it's at the Gabba, Brisbane, the cricket ground.
Isn't the
Their-
Gabba?
Their cricket ground.
Oh, okay. I thought the
Queensland,
Gabba.
The
Yeah.
Gabba, yeah.
I don't follow cricket.
I
What
think
am I
the-
thinking of?
What's Western Australian called again? I can't remember. It's called something. I can't remember what it's
Wacker?
called. Wacker. No, it's called the Wacker. No, it's called the Wacker. He's
Wacker
right.
and the Gabba.
And
Waco.
the Gabba.
The
And I think that this is the start of the end for the Broncos.
6 from 6. I'm going Bronco.
No, sorry, for the
Dolphins.
Dolphins, yeah, sorry.
Bulldogs at home to the Knights.
Burton versus the Control Freak.
Do
you like that one?
I love it. I love
Okay.
it. I love it.
The Knights surely will be embarrassed losing to reserve grade Knights, so I'm banking on them coming back for a win. But the Dogs beat them last time they played, so
Did we?
yeah. So one of the few games you've won against the Knights. You just
bravo.
could do the double on them this year.
Maybe. But let's hit reality. I think. Look, the Bulldogs are very well coached outfit, Nicola. So the Knights will probably put 50 on them.
Adam, so Adam won't be at Centrelink next week.
No, not next week. But look, we got a defensive coach. Remember, we got a defensive coach.
I'm going Bulldog.
Bulldog, yeah, it's a 50-50 that one.
Yeah, it is
It's
a
not
50-50.
easy.
Jake and decides a 50-50.
Seagulls at home to the Roosters.
Gee. I'm pulling teeth out. Who cares?
Oh God, Radley versus Olakoatu.
Ooh, that's
Right?
good.
You like that one?
That's good. I like
And
that.
Teddy versus Garrick. I don't know why I said that one.
I like the first
Um,
one.
The Roosters need to win this to stay in touch. I think they're a better outfit than Manly. I'm going to go Roosters. Teddy had to have a big one.
George?
I don't know. I've got no confidence in either team. And you know what? I don't care, but I'm going to go Manly. I don't know why, because it's Brookie. I don't know.
I'm going to go Rooster.
And there's a few players coming back from Manly. I think Jake's back, Trebojevic.
Yes, he is, yeah.
And so is Jake Arthur.
Oh, is Jake Arthur there? Is he?
For Manly.
Is he playing?
Isn't Chet? No.
He's not in. He's in the Reggies.
George, you have
sure?
some tidbits for us.
Wait a minute. We're looking for Jake Arthur. We're looking for Jake Arthur.
Josh Rooster's at 6. Okay.
Some tidbits, Nicola. As you know, we're following the plight of the world champions, St. Helens. Unfortunately, once again, they fell, Nicola.
St. Helens?
Yeah. At the Tony Smith, well coached Hull FC and well prepared. Beat them 34-6, and can I be honest? They looked terrible. They looked so bad. How they're in touch of the top 6 is beyond me. I've seen them play most games because they play St. Helens more than any other team, and I've seen them play maybe good once, really. So they've been going terrible. But
That's the brother of Brian Smith, right? That we were talking about earlier. Tony Smith.
Tony Smith, and he knows how to coach a team. Let me tell you, Hull FC were very well prepared. Very well prepared. It was, before they knew it, they were 20 points down, St. Helens. The Lead Leopards went to Pepion to play the Catalans, Nicola, top of the table clash. Unfortunately, fell short, 38-30. And that ends a 7-winning streak for the Lead Leopards, Nicola. The score indicated the game. It was close. It was to and fro. I wouldn't be ashamed or disappointed if I was a Lead Leopards fan. They gave as good as they got. But Mitchell Pearce inspired Catalans really. Actually, Mitchell is playing well. They're powering on. Wigan beat Salford 26-6, Nicola, and they're looking the goods as well. Castleford 23 beat Warrington 14, and they're really sliding now.
Warrington?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're really
Is
sliding.
that Dufty and...
Yeah, they've lost about 3 in a row now. So they're falling apart. Nicola Leeds 54 demolished the Huddersfield Giants 0.
Leeds?
Wow.
Yeah.
54-0.
No, Leeds.
Oh, Leeds,
No,
Leeds.
not
Sorry, that's Leeds.
Okay. And Hull KR defeated the Wakefield team 26-12. The top 6, Nicola, Catalans 24. Warrington hanging on 22. Wigan 20. Our team, Nicola. The Lead Leopards 20. Salford 20. A very tight competition. And somehow, I don't know how, St. Helens holding on to 6th spot with 18. And you know what? I know what's going to happen. They're going to make the top 8. They're going to go all the way and they're going to win the cob. I'm telling you now. It's just written in folk history, you know what I mean? And they've played one, every time I've seen them nearly every round, they've played one good game all year. So,
Wow.
The other news is that the pin-up boy Maguire went to the judiciary. He got 19 weeks.
19 weeks.
19 weeks.
Yep, and he got sacked.
So he should.
And he got sacked from Warrington.
Any cap space at the Dragons, are you?
Leadership.
So leadership. You know what? I think he must have wanted to come home.
Yeah.
Honestly, he must have wanted to come home because that's you don't tell a guy who's got a disabled daughter.
Did he ever play for Queensland in Origin?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
He did. Of course he did. Yeah.
Okay.
He was actually a good player at some stage in his
No,
life.
he is a good
great player. Yeah,
but he just at 34, 35 now. He's just not interested. He mustn't be interested. And unfortunately, that's all I got for you this week, Nicola.
Okay.
Short and sweet.
What are you guys looking forward to this weekend?
Oh, wow. Well, my depression starts from tomorrow night because St. George get flogged by Cronulla. So
I have to wait till Sunday.
all weekend I'll be depressed, man, after that.
Monday.
So I'll be looking forward to Monday, looking forward to the week after that, see if St. George can do anything. But, nothing. Yeah, if I was going to look forward to something, it's Big Tino versus Tapine.
Nicola, Saturday night, I'm heading out with the gentleman on my left-hand side, and we're going to a very well-known spot that we go. Haven't gone for a while.
That's right.
And we'll be looking for Manoli. He's always there
Yes.
carrying glasses.
Yes.
And we'll take a picture of Manoli and we'll
Employer of
put
the
it up.
month.
Yeah, Employer of the Month. So I'll be heading out with some characters that again are in and around here who again I haven't gone out with for a while. So I'm looking forward for that. And in terms of rugby league, that you, maybe I should comment about rugby league. It's another Origin affected round, isn't it? So
Not really.
No.
Is
no.
everybody in?
Yeah.
Okay.
Everyone's in, yeah.
Okay. Well, you know what? I'd love to see the Warriors full house. That's gonna intrigue me and see what the Rabbits can do because you know I've picked them.
2 good games on Friday.
Yeah, I've picked them. I just love watching. You know what? I really enjoy watching Penrith play, and people say I'm biased. People accuse me a lot of things about Penrith. I enjoy watching good rugby league, and I enjoy watching a certain system of play, which is obvious. It's there for everybody to see, and I love how. And when I saw him live against the Roosters. I had a good advantage, and I saw the system work in real time, and I was enthralled. I just kept on looking, and I was quiet for 80 minutes. And I think the people who kept on talking to me, and I wouldn't answer them back because I'm watching the system work. And I noticed from last year to this year how Ivan has changed the system with all these weird shapes that they used to show East. There was I told you about a shape. There was 4 of them behind each other. When the ball broke, they just split. You know what I mean? So he's just showing all these different shapes. I really enjoy watching things like that. And of course, I want to see what the Titans are going to do.
I'm looking forward to the Warriors.
The Warriors will bring it home for us.
They're good to watch, eh?
Yeah.
How good would it be if the Warriors are there at the last day of the last game of the year? Not only for the league, for their people, for the
What about for the coach?
For the coach? Oh my God!
If he makes top 8, would you give him Coach of the Year?
Yes, I'll give him Coach of the Year.
I think so
now.
because he's taken a club that historically has just failed year after year after. Not since Ivan Cleary took him to. Was he the last one taking the grand final?
Yes. He was the only one.
Was it 2011?
Can't remember when, but he was the only one.
No, was that Daniel Anderson? One of them. They've been in 2 grand finals, right?
Oh, yeah.
Ivan
Daniel
was the last
Anderson,
one.
Ivan Cleary. Yeah.
Ivan was the last one.
But they've had good squads and they've just failed to deliver for so long, now they're doing it.
They've had
with a lesser squad.
They've had far better squads than this.
Yeah,
they didn't even make the 8. And for me, I see, and this is now bias aside, I see one guy still trying to play a Penrith style system, and the other one is playing for his players. He's designed the system for his players.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he's a good coach. And yes, Adi, if he makes the top 8, he should be Coach of the Year.
Yeah.
He really should.
Interesting, man. Yeah. Webster who?
And
Webster who?
And you know what? Last year, Arthur goes to me, Webster got the job. And I go, Webster, and is that how it started? I go, Webster who? And he goes, Webster who?
Yeah, because we didn't know who it was.
But now the Webster who comment has even magnified.
Yeah.
You know, we all know who Webster is.
But you know what's interesting? He's not getting the media spotlight yet, is he?
Yeah.
It's funny.
Probably because there's so many other coaches who are not doing well who are getting the spotlight.
Yeah.
Well,
works better for him anyway.
Yeah.
Fly under the radar.
And you know what? They're in New Zealand, so they don't even read the headlines anyway. But Ivan didn't get the headlines until he won his second comp. Even the first one, he wasn't really getting that much.
I remember before when he lost the first grand final that we watched here.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, I do remember.
Against Melbourne. And that next season, especially on 360, Paul Kent. It's a Paul Kent special.
No.
Guy's played one first grade rugby league game his entire career. Pulled out all these stats about how Ivan Cleary is the longest running coach without winning all the. How's that looking now? He's won
Chance.
He's won the last 2 comps in a row.
And
Yeah,
chance
yeah.
chance for a
three-peat,
a real
yeah.
chance, actually.
And I
A
hope he
real
doesn't
chance.
win it because at the end of the day, that's all I've got. We're the last
Three
team to win
in a
3 in a row. Take that. I've got nothing.
And he has won Coach of the Year the last 2 years. Before that was Bellamy, and last year was Payton.
Yeah.
So
He's.
if Webster gets it
You
know
this year,
what?
then
No one get
I've
it.
he won't get it again.
you guys have heard me say it like numerous times. When do we start talking about Ivan Cleary?
I know.
Now,
You know, we should, he's proven himself
Of course,
over and over.
Yeah.
well, more so now, with so many players leaving, key players, and him adjusting for what he's got. Okay, I don't know too many coaches, including. See, Bellamy makes players better, but plays the same system. Okay, super coach. Okay, works on players, not on X's and O's. They play
That's Wayne Bennett,
All,
by the way.
all super coaches teams play a very simple system. We crash the middle, then we hit the edges. Very simple.
Ivan Cleary has done
He
what
changes systems. He
he's
changes
done.
everything.
What none of those guys are capable of doing. He's done the impossible. Ivan Cleary. Luke Brooks won Dalian halfback of the year
Hey,
under
true,
him.
true,
Right,
very true, very true.
guys. That wraps us up. Episode 45.
Big one.
The pod that tells it like it is. I don't know what time it is, but yeah, this one went on for quite a bit.
Maybe a
But
bit
we
too
had a
long.
lot to cover. So thanks again, everyone. You know where to find us. All the channels, TikTok, Insta, YouTube, Spotify, Apple. Look us up. Tell us off. Do whatever you want. Boys, great to see you again.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next week.
Bye, everybody. Happy
Bye,
rugby
bye.
league.
Happy rugby league.
Good
Enjoy your
night.
weekend.
Bye-bye.
Bye.